However, we are guaranteed to gain elo. Be back in 5 minutes, just needed first, of course. I need to really deal with those email notifications. I have a frankly delusional amount of faith. Frankly, delusional. I'm telling you, the elo gain is 100%. Just finished writing that long course. Okay, so I don't understand what exactly is it you were writing. That's still not 100% clear to me. Work with me here. Let me organize my windows. I was sick to miss a math class. Uh-huh. Hello, sussy. Hello, A. So, what were you writing down? If you want to give me the bishop pair immediately, be my guest. Ooh, he does. Interesting. So I got the material from the course and wrote it down. Okay, that makes sense. From a colleague? Mm-hmm. Frankly, I'm a little surprised. I mean, I suppose this is fine, but... Doesn't he have d5? I mean, yeah, but I'm not too afraid of it since I play here and I go c4 soon. He doesn't really have anywhere to jump with his pieces super actively. Actually, better yet, I can do this and go like here. And if he wants to play e5, which it looks like is what he wants to do, he's going to really have to push super hard. It looks quite difficult. I mean, it's difficult for both sides, or at least it looks the part, but... Meanwhile, not knowing what happened, neither do I. I'm making this up for real, for real. Do I go here or here? My plan was here, and now I can push the f-pawn as well, which is interesting. I'm undecided about how I feel about this position. I really am. Same, isn't it? I'm very undecided. f4. I want to play f4 at some point, but I couldn't just then because he would just take on f4. f4 is an idea, though. I mean, sometimes things are just, like, should be, you know, common knowledge about the English language, and so it's like difficult to explain them because it's like, okay, yeah, that's just, you know, English. Yeah, that's American, but like American is obviously better than English. So if I can be sneaky here, then it's much better to play it this way and get the rook controlling the open file before going like knight b5 or something. Frida! Oh gosh. Yeah, it's American. I don't know. I'm undecided about this position, I mean. This knight looks very strong, and the ability to go knight g3 if I'm ever afraid of anything seems pretty good. Much freedom as money, literally proportional. Not gonna lie, you're kind of cooking on that one. That's kind of the great lie. How greedy do I want to be? Because I could go for this pawn. I'm not gonna. If I go knight here, actually, where does he move his queen? Hold on a second. Time out. Can you play knight takes here? No, I can't. So where do you put your queen? Like, I mean, you have to go like here, and then after the queen trade, that looks wonderful for me. Because then I just go bring the knight back, and I've destroyed your pawn structure. I mean, sure. I ain't scared of him. He thinks I'm scared. Slowly over time, hypocrisy has become my least favorite thing. Never mind, I was hanging the queen. Oh, I know. Good timing on the dab. I like this move a lot. BC on our Black Mini, Ancient Tea in one band that's irrelevant are doing a show at the windmill to raise money for medical aid for Gaza. That is based. that is quite based. Yeah, that's the problem with having taste, Rexplore. No, Rexplore, Re. Is as soon as you have taste, suddenly everything becomes way more difficult. Yeah, no, you could cope your way to London. For that, that is absolutely a cope your way to London situation. Not too much in hypocrite because virtually everyone is a hypocrite. If you dig deep enough, it's okay to even have value. Live up to. No. Having a value you don't live up to isn't hypocrisy. Claiming you have a value is hypocrisy. It's not hypocritical to say, this is an aspirational thing that I don't have yet. It's hypocritical to say, this is an aspirational thing that I have. I think that's a very important difference. And that's my frustration. Is I feel like the US has a very bad reputation of taking things that they don't have yet and saying, this is an aspirational thing that I totally have. And I find that frustrating. How bad is it if I take the rook? That's my frustration. Christianity has yeah, which is sad because I feel like it doesn't necessarily need to, but I feel like mainstream Christianity has a lot of hypocrisy too, which is part of what bothers me. I don't know about that, Goddle. I believe it, like that would make sense, but I don't know that for a fact, so I'm not going to say that yes because I don't know. So I'm not gonna. I can't affirm that one. It's hypocritical to say donate money to a dementia charity and not actually do that. Exactly. I appreciate the subtle jab. Yeah, that video was it was definitely Kino. I'll give you that one. Yeah, having aspirations isn't hypocrisy. Claiming you've already achieved them is hypocrisy. That's my point. And like I said, I feel like the US has a very bad reputation with that. Ree's been here a while, yeah. Okay, give me a second. I'm trying to win. That makes sense. And so that's what I mean. Obviously, we're human, and I don't think I agree. I do agree fundamentally the statement that everyone has some level of hypocrisy deep down. Like obviously, I'm very much a believer in. Oh, let's check. And everyone, you know, everyone has some level of bad. But it's almost not my point. I'm in a very weird position. I don't really know how it's all going to pan out. Yeah, Ree's been here a while. I don't know how I feel about this. This is very weird. It's 3 pieces for the queen, which the 3 pieces should be enough, but it's just the queen is very strong. Although, again, I think I am making progress, and I think my pieces have gotten better. It's a coordination issue, right? They just, getting them all to do the same thing is hard. Also about 2 more vinyls? Which ones? Or would I not know them? Are they too cool? Last Cadet. Happy to play you at some point, but you have to exclaim join to join the queue, and then when it's your turn, we can play. I can't just be skipping people back and forth. It would cause chaos. I like this move. My pieces kind of all defend each other. Ooh, Paramore. I recognize that name. We're only human. 2300 bullet. Sheesh. You are good at bullet. An offensive fortress. Yeah, and the point is, if he goes for this, then knight takes f7 also defends the g5 square, which was part of my idea. I don't know if it's good, but it's something. Okay, well this is the same. Like I go here and I defend the g5 square. I actually think this is worse because it doesn't defend h6, which I think is critical because now I have knight h6 check at some point. So I think this is just slightly worse than what I was saying. Ooh, that's a move. Hmm. That doesn't actually threaten anything. If I go check, king f8. I think I have to go check. I don't see an alternative. Maybe I can do this, but like something like this. But this is just worse than check. No, this allows me to bring my bishop in. Maybe that's better. Wait, here, bishop in, check. Oh, I like this move, actually. Maybe I'm dumb. I might be dumb. It looks pretty, though. He's not threatening anything. Rook f7 check? Rook f7 check afterwards, he goes... Ooh, rook f7 check was like mate or something, wasn't it? I'm an idiot. Okay, it's fine. Check here. This is what I'm trying to hit at some point. I think I can. Yeah, this forces the win of the queen. This is what I was calculating. I'm glad I was right. I think I was seeing ghosts, which is why it took so time. Remind me of CDs you have? I don't have that many. I have the 7th Stitch CD. I have Ants from Up There. And, I have, some 60s music. I have a U2 CD. I don't remember which one it is, but I have one of them. I have a Tosha Proeski, who's a Macedonian, musician, very well known around these parts. I have, what do I have? What a goofy position this is. Okay. Okay. I have 40 seconds, which is nice. That's a good amount of time for this sort of position. I'm just gonna walk my king in and not stalemate him. That's it. I'm just... I don't have the time to calculate this all with the bishop. There we go. Okay, give me a second. Let me read. I missed a bunch of messages. Let me read back. Let me read back. Let me read back. Okay. God called the dry ground land and gathered waters sea, and God saw that it was good. The receipt's being trust me, bro. It was depressing. Black played rookie and 7g6. You have a brilliant sack the queen for the night. What if I'll have to look it up. It's been like 2 years. 2,300 bullet. I saw that one. Sheesh. We're only human. That's, Rag and Bone Man. An offensive fortress, yeah. Have you ordered any more? I have not currently. I still need to get like cross, untrue, random access memories, stuff like that. Answer Up There is like the most listened album in my car by far. I also burned myself a CD for like for the Fortet remixes of Mad Villainy because those are just inspired, man. Magnus Carlsen's rap. Wait, where did that come from? Tosha Goes Hard? He does. Some of them I just stole from family members, but okay, I caught up with the Redemptions too. We're good. Last game was stressful. I mean, I had enough material for the Queen objectively, but it was just coordination. I need to get all the pieces working together, you know? The main challenge was coordination. Also, good shirt. I thank you. The Office goes hard. I do have plans to get some more CDs at some point, but I want to see how bad Christmas is for my wallet. So far, it's been pretty bad. I mean, it's fine. It's the holidays, right? 'Tis the season. I'm rewatching The Office again because the Scott Pilgrim anime is done. And that's it. There's two options. There's rewatching The Office and there's Scott Pilgrim anime. There's nothing else. I mean, I could take on C5 and try to get greedy. That'd be pretty funny, I think. Doesn't work, though. Usually what I just do is this. Magnus versus Wesley now. And Armageddon. Magnus with black pieces draws enough. I do not envy Wesley's position in that case. Draws Magnus is scary. But Magnus is always scary. That's the problem. I say, ooh, this Magnus is scary. That Magnus is scary. But it's Magnus. So like does it, like whatever happens, it's very scary. That's like, it's horrible. I mean, I can't imagine being a super grandmaster and having to deal with that. You know what I mean? So my intention was just to go here and say, hey, guess what? You've just given me a bunch of free development. Then like a E4 and Bishop comes out. You know what I mean? Magnus is the boogeyman. Yup. Baba Yaga. No, not Baba Yaga. No. Never let bro cook again. Gosh. Great action movie, terrible Russian? Yes. That movie was fire. I loved John Wick, but man. Baba Yaga. I'm saying it like they did in the movie because clearly that's what he's referencing. Clearly. If some goofy night move, I think I just like Castle Long. You understand me? Like no one else. I mean, it's a pretty simple flowchart. If John Wick reference, then yes. This is. Oh, I missed that he could take the bishop. I'm an idiot. Solid like Wesley So. Don't say. You see, the moment you even think about saying something like that is when I blunder a piece. Right? That's the rule. John Wick once is around 2 or Scott Pilgrim. No, it isn't. It absolutely is not. However, it's John Wick. I can't believe I just gave him a bishop. Okay, it's fine. Winnable. Honestly, winnable. Actually and factually winnable. I just need to pull out the compensation. Also rewatched Pulp Fiction many times. That also makes sense. It's Pulp Fiction. That's a very rewatchable movie. Most Tarantino's are. But although I'm going to be honest, I didn't really like Kill Bill. I know everyone loves Kill Bill. I just didn't get it. Position, are you guys proud of me? Yes. Very. Next question. Like Kill Bill, it's an homage to old kung fu films? Yeah. I that part's interesting. That's the coolest angle of the movie, but yeah, it's Tarantino, right? I'm not. It's obviously not a bad movie. I don't think Tarantino's like physically able to make a bad movie, but it just. I think the thing is, it doesn't. It's not a movie. You know what I mean? Almost in the sense that it really doesn't work in any capacity without the like really like what's the word I'm even looking for here? Without the super intense subtext of the kung fu film stuff. There's so much like it's so very obvious that movie's supposed to have a metatextual edge. Metatextual, that's what I was looking for. That the movie itself like does not function as a movie without the metatext, right? Which is not a bad thing necessarily, but it means as someone who has watched a few kung fu movies, likes them fine, but doesn't have any super strong special feelings about them. It's kind of like I said, almost not a movie. Like I'll watch a kung fu movie and I'll enjoy it, but like it's never been a sort of genre I've been in love with. Hey, hold on a second, sussy. Hold on just a gosh darn minute. No. It's I manually put in a bunch of options, and then the rest of them just work via some sort of magic that I don't understand. And my degree in computer science? I don't have a degree in computer science. I just have too much spare time. Actually playing horrible chess for real, for real. It probably would. It seems like the type of idea that would work. The vibes are very good for that idea. We're cooking. This is really terrible. For programming, I can only go for vibes. Yeah, that makes sense. I've got some osmosis programming just for my dad, but it's like nothing. You are chilling in the kitchen. I am not chilling in the kitchen. I am like, the kitchen's on fire. I'm on fire. Everything's on fire. And it's very bad. My only hope is that my opponent like trips and spills the spaghetti everywhere, you know? Nothing else positive is going to come from this other than maybe mom's spaghetti. Only mom's spaghetti. Will he burn the kitchen or will he cook the fire? There's nothing. There's nothing to cook here. Remember the 3 tomato gambit from last stream? I'm playing the 3 tomato gambit. There is nothing to cook in this position. The real programming was the friends we made along the way. True. I'm literally playing the 3 tomato gambit. I mean, like, Levy is a fairly strong international master. I am a guy who has played a few games of chess on chess.com. It's not exactly a fair comparison. You know what I mean? Like, as a lol get wrecked nerd insult, that's pretty weak. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Did I do a thing? How did this happen? How did he let me get away with this? I'm still probably much worse, nearly losing, if not losing just outright, but there's some chefistry going on here. There's no checks with the knight. That's very important before I try this. Horrible position, honestly. Just really, really bad. But he's asked to think. Ah, I can't force anything is the problem. But okay. If I can get enough material off the board, we might hold this. Like, rook and knight versus rook is a draw, I believe, yeah? Oh my gosh, I got the move order mixed up in my head. Again, I was thinking check, and then bring the other rook and go for like d7. Ugh. Man, I just need to stop playing chess. I need to retire. That's what needs to happen. I need to retire. There's just been there's nothing that can save my chess career at this point. How well does your family know what I'd like to get for Christmas? My sister's having some serious problems. The 4 tomato gambit. No, this is the 2 tomato gambit. We lost another tomato. Okay, good. Oh no. This is very bad. I am running out of squares. I mean, it's forced mate in like 2. We need to talk about that faster, man. Yeah, did you call the shipping places? When the checks keep coming to know your game's over, or your opponent's desperate, but I think I'm the one desperate here. What do you mean we need to talk about that? I was waiting on you for the next steps. What a terrible game of chess. Just a garbage game of chess. Just so bad. Just so bad. Okay. It's fine, guys. It's fine. We gained 2 elo. That's a success. The plus 30 elo thing in the what's it been called? Ignore that. Sorry, busy weekend? No problem. I don't care. I really doesn't bother me in the slightest. I'm just, you know, I'm doing the internet thing, you know, where it's like, oh, there's something I should be doing better. No, let me find the nitpick that will, oh, wrong button. Let me find the nitpick on what someone else is doing to completely distract everyone. I never know what I want for Christmas. want you play me. Sure. What's your chess.com name again, Sussy? What a horrible game of chess. Because you weren't Sussy Frog. Oh, you were Sussy Frog on chess.com as well. Must have been a long time since we played. For me to forget that. Save for books. I don't know. I'm not a very good gift giver. I don't have that problem. The problem is shipping here is difficult. So a lot of things that would be obvious are things that would be difficult to obtain in this part of the world. The follow-up issue being that I also have like really specific things that I'm interested in and that I think about. That's what my sister said. Got my dad a coffee table book on socialist architecture. Ooh, that's interesting. Like, no, brutalist was communist. What's socialist architecture? Because I know brutalism is communist architecture, but I don't know what socialist architecture would be. Is that something I should know? Well, it's pretty much brutalism. Okay, then, we're good. Wasn't it like super realism? Obviously, that's a technical term. Pretty much brutalism. Okay, I thought it was brutalism because I know brutalism has like the reputation, you know? We're talking like architecture, it's like, brutalism. We have a bit where anytime I say brutalism is ugly, he says it's his favorite style. Oh, that's great. Brutalism is interesting. I don't like it, but I have difficulty knowing if that's me struggling to separate my feelings for political philosophy away from the actual architecture itself, or if I actually don't like the architecture. But either way, it's definitely an interesting style, and I can understand it from a practicality perspective. It kills art. Yeah, but see, here's the problem. If you're centralizing a lot of construction, then from some perspective, like, okay, how can you justify paying for artistry in your architecture? To some degree. Because if you're a private individual, then who cares, you know? But hey, I've heard chocolates are old reliable. Oh, I could have played this last move. No, I couldn't have because you had check, so I had to wait till this move. This knight is just a terrible piece. Philosophically, brutalism makes sense in communism. It's something ugly and I hate it. Oh yeah. No, you're not. My point isn't that it's a good thing. My point is that philosophically, I wouldn't even say it makes sense philosophically. I would say it borders on philosophical necessity, which is way more interesting. Like it's the only architectural design that makes sense, given the philosophy. Maybe that's a stretch, but it's an interesting stretch, so I'm going to say it anyway. Just makes me gag. That's fair. Again, I don't find it offensive, but I just, you know, Rogue made sense in the time. What's your point? There's a lot of, I wouldn't say there's a lot, there's a good amount of leftover brutalism. Makes sense with the general philosophy of the times. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. That's probably one of the things I find most interesting about architecture, even though it's not my favorite, um, not my favorite thing. Like, I'm not that into architecture, but the most interesting part to me is the kind of the way it reflects society as a whole. I would agree, but I would say it's unique in the sense that it reflects something that only brutalism reflects, because socialist slash communist society isn't reflected in any other architectural style. So it's not unique in a meta contextual sense, but you like architecture just as an art form. That makes sense. I can see that. My little brother likes architecture quite a lot. His favorite is Baroque. At least, maybe, was Baroque's favorite? Maybe his favorite was Gothic. Baroque was like top 3 for him. I don't remember exactly the order. Give me that. Now for the easy parts. I kind of get why someone would find it interesting. It's just not my thing, if that makes sense. Gothic and Baroque are pretty base, not gonna lie. Yes. Okay, let's see how this went. Hey, homies. We're used to playing Blitz. I didn't know Blitz and anti-chess were the same thing. I thought Blitz was just faster chess. I didn't know the goal of Blitz was to lose all your pieces. I usually just like when a cathedral is pretty. Yeah, that makes sense. This in my terms? Okay, fair enough. Understandable. You had one move to beat me. There was one move where you were significantly better. It was a tactic. Let's see if we could find it. I don't recommend the Chigorin. I really don't. You could play it, it's fine, but just like, why would you, as a lower level person who's not saying opening theory? Like I told you before, homies, have him send me a friend request. If you'd like. I don't care. Me to study this? Oh, well, okay then. Then why'd you play b6? Because last I checked, b6 is supposed to be played the knights going to d7. Knight c6, b6 is a little weird. I don't know if I was supposed to play this. I think I was supposed to play queen a4 first. Maybe not. Bishop g4. Okay. Because me no study. What do you mean? Knight c3 castles, bishop g5, bishop e7. Knight e7 was a move. Bishop e7 was also probably a move, although that allows me to play knight e5, so that doesn't look fun. So you probably had to play something like knight e7 and just accept the doubled pawns and try to claim that you're okay here, you know? Which, this is just hideous. I would hate to play this, but luckily I'm white in this position. In this position. In this position. Alright, well there you go. Is there an endgame? We'll find out, we'll find out. Yeah, this was very dumb. I should have just played this and taken your queen, but okay. Where did I blunder a rook? Oh yeah, right here. I forgot your knight was on a5. But okay, it's fine. Friends, I forgot. Bad chess this evening. Crazy. Once you got into this endgame, I was already losing though. That's why I don't recommend these positions, is they're so razor's edge. A bunch, and now I'm broke. I'm not broke yet, but I probably will be by the time Christmas season's over. I don't like. Makes me uncomfortable. I need to actually start online coaching, but I haven't had the time to set it up in a way that I'm comfortable with. Okay. Wait, so you bought like everyone else presents other than your girlfriend? Oh, you are in danger, my guy. You you have got some problems. But like a 1600, I believe that. You played well, but these positions are just so difficult. You know, like you play b6 at the wrong time, and suddenly this pawn becomes really weak. You know, this is a decent way of trying to solve the problem of the light squared bishop, but you just, these weaknesses are so painful right now. So it's kind of, if you could survive, then you're doing good. But like in this position, you gotta like play h6 and hope that you're fine. And you might be fine. You might be fine, but like you might also not be fine. You know what I mean? Well, there's 2110. I believe that. Bishop g5, bishop b7, and you just lost a pawn. And that pawn turned into an exchange. And then it's just an exchange down endgame, which is going to be depressing. And then the king and pawn endgame, 2 dollars down, it's just too much. Based Rexplore. No, what you need to do... No, it has with 2 people, man. Oh, okay. I was joking. Okay, then fine. In that case, you're fine. You survive. Did I hang on decently? You hung on as well as you could have. Although, I'm going to be honest, I think you made my life a little easier than you should have in these positions. Like here, there's not a whole lot you can do. You're just down a pawn. But like this... I'm not technically threatening anything right now. You know? Which... Like maybe moving a knight to c8 first. Ah, you get d7. So I guess you have to prevent knight d7. So you could have prevented the loss of an exchange, and it still would have been painful and probably definitely losing. But it like... I feel like the chances would have been a little better in a position like this. You know? Because now I can't just take the piece with a pin on your queen. And so like... You could have really tried in this position. What should you improve when I play you? Well, either study your openings or don't play this difficult of an opening. Play simpler moves. Stuff like bishop d6 and then b6 are not simple moves. Well, yeah, that's definitely true. Most chess players are like that, I would say. But here's the thing. Again, like, you've either got to study your theory for these complicated things, or you've got to play simple moves. I do okay in the dragon because I've really studied my theory, and so I know the moves that aren't simple. But if I didn't, then I would just have to play simply and not try to get in worse position. I wouldn't be able to, like, dive in. You can't dive into this position and not study, and then do something crazy like b6, where you're opening this diagonal, you're weakening this knight, you're weakening this diagonal, you're weakening this, you're letting this pawn stay weak after captures, and you're keeping your king in the center, another move. Like, this is not a move you could play if you don't know the ramifications of it. You have to finish your development and then maybe think about playing b6, although maybe you delay it a little bit more. So like here, I don't know what I would do. I would probably take a nice c3. I'll probably do the same thing as before. And so now you're a tempo up, right? You have to play more calmly if you don't know your exact theory, which I would recommend just playing calmly in general. And like not creating these big weaknesses if you aren't 100% sure what's going to happen. Because this is a big weakness. This is a very weakening move. I'm finished developed and I'm castled. You are not developing a piece. You're not castling, and you're weakening 2 of the most important diagonals in the position. Ouch. And again, sometimes it's worth it if you can get the bishop out. But that's an if. You weren't sure you could get the bishop out because you didn't calculate it because you played this in 4 seconds. I wouldn't play b6 here. I would castle. I don't know if b6 is the best move. I don't think it is, but I would just castle. I don't want anything to do with this. And here I still wouldn't play b6 if I'm being honest. If I'm being honest, I still probably wouldn't play b6 here. I'd probably do this, take, and go e5. And try to bring the bishop out this way. Because this is just so scary. Maybe you can get away with it. Stalker said that I played the middle game better than you. I believe it. But it doesn't matter because you're already lost out of the opening. Literally cope. Literally cope. Can't have a girlfriend because that would be cheating. I'm already married to the grind. He's just like me. For real, for real. So, like, yeah, but it's just because I didn't need to play perfectly because I just played decently. I was like, okay, I'll just play simple moves and just play simply. Again, in the opening, I don't know the theory for this. But in this position, I didn't go for something goofy like, I don't know, c5 or b4, even though they might be better. Like, in this position, I didn't play c5. Maybe c5 is a good move. I don't think it is. I just played simple chess. I was just like, okay, I'm going development, I'm going to castle. If you take this, we'll play that, but... So, you didn't play poorly. You just... Like, the meta strategy there was not very good. You played black. Okay, let me just copy that real quick. To-doolery. Yeah, okay, we'll see, we'll see. We'll see how much goofy silliness happens in this position. Oh no, the opponent's playing boring. What is this, like a collie? I think this is a collie. It looks like a collie. I hate the collie. It's a good opening, but it's just a little dry for me. A little dry. Okay. Okay, so we transpose into like a weird, slow Slav. Okay. This is a standard sort of thing in these positions. After the bishop moves is when you take, because that way the bishop has to move twice instead of moving directly to capture. It gives you a tempo for free pretty much. b5, okay. This is somewhat standard. Although I have to wonder if knight c7, if like knight d7 followed by c5 is the primary plan. I don't actually know in this position. But I mean, I guess b5, b4, c5 this is all a similar sort of stuff. Okay. b5. And see, again, you have to think about strengths and weaknesses. Well, I didn't get a 2023 badge, so... It's strengths and weaknesses. This pawn is very weak. It's on open file and it's backwards. However, pushing this bishop back is good for black because this was a strong piece. And also the queenside space plus potential playing like c5 in the future is pretty good, so it's worth. a6. And see, now he wants to play c5 at some point. a6 is to support the b pawn when c5 happens. Very standard stuff. And see, now, it's interesting, is white gives some gaps, some holes here on the queen side. My mouse up c6 on move 1, so I had no clue what I was doing. Well, it's just chess, you know? I mean, this is kind of proof of what I'm talking about. You didn't play anything too crazy. You're just playing chess. This is good. You have all of these pawns on light squares. So you trade off a light square bishop, and then plop your knight on this light square. Very rational, reasonable stuff. And now he blunders knight d2. Hey. We take those. a5. And see... This position is fine because the knights have a lot of really strong things they can do. So if I go like bishop e2, well, first off, I'm threatening to just take. If I go knight queen c2 and then a5, and black is in time with all the breakthroughs because his active play on the queen side is worth more than white's bishop pair and long-term play against this weak pawn and potentially this weak square. Maybe I got the badge. I don't know. I haven't checked. Anyway, queen e3, the opponent just blundered material, so now there's just too many problems in the position. And see, now these doubled pawns are annoying, but like they're passed. These are effectively one pawn, but you have a passed pawn and you're up in exchange. It's very good for black. And white does not want to take this to undouble the pawns. Oof, knight c3 is a good move. What's knight d5? Dunk, dunk, dunk. Where does this bishop go? You have to go to like a1, right? That's depressing. No, if you go to a1 and get hit with rook c1. Yeah, where does this bishop go? Hold on a second. Sicilian Carol or Indian? Sicilian. Every day of the week. 100 times. 100 times Sicilian. Now and forever. Yeah, allegedly or something. Where do his pieces go? If he takes, then this happens and it's just immediately locked. Yeah, the bishop has nowhere to move. The bishop's trapped. That's depressing. You like guaranteed loses a piece. Oof. But okay. Knight back also can't be a bad move. Just kind of give him a pawn for no reason. Shows how bad this bishop is. White didn't do a very good job playing around the bishop pair and their strengths, and so he ended up in this terrible position. Now it really feels like you're struggling to find a way in here, Cormac. It's maybe I'm not reading this right, and you're just trying to provoke long-term weaknesses or something. But it really feels like you don't know how to make progress. I really didn't. The bishops were doing work. I think it's smoke and mirrors though. Because all you gotta do, because the problem here, the problem here is his bishops kind of force you to force your pieces to stay out of the position. So if I'm thinking about this, rationally, where do my pieces want to go? Where can I put them? It's not obvious. We've got to force open a line somehow. Can we play e5 at some point? Not really, because he plays d5, e4. We've got to poke and prod. So this isn't a move. That forces either f4 or g4. Oh, absolutely. He's going to run out of good moves to play eventually. His pieces are kind of stuck. But you have to play the g4 or f4. Or king f2. Or like some king move. Let's think. In any of those cases, if he pushes this one, then h4 followed by like a knight d5 looks strong. No, maybe you just play g5 and try to force your way in this way. Yeah, and then you have an open file for your rook. Right. So plan A, if he does this, you play g5 and you get an open file for your rook on the g file. And your knight gets amazing central squares. Right? If he plays g4, then suddenly he's created weaknesses this way on the dark squares that you could take advantage of most likely. Also, king here, this is an idea, and you get the H file. 2000 and 2300? 300 ELO. Wow, this is easy. I forgot how easy streaming was. Well, it depends on the 2000 and the 2300. That's the thing. There's, like, there's 2000s that are stronger attack, there's 2000s that are stronger at endgames, there's 2000s that are really good at positional chess. There's 2000s that just know a ton of opening theory. Bishop e7. Yeah, so I guess the plan is you try to force open a file on the king side because the bishops are kind of stuck defending this pawn, in which case you can create a second weakness. The principle of two weaknesses, right? Can I play you after this or no viewer matches? Exclam join to join the queue, and then when it's your turn, you can play me. That's how we do it. We have a little queue bot and everything. Well, if a 2000 goes everything, then they're not a 2000 anymore. They're Magnus Carlsen. And I don't think Magnus Carlsen's rated 2000. So I guess the point is you try to provoke pawn weaknesses on the king side, force open a file, and bring your rook in, is the plan. The computer's also giving me something along the lines of, like, rook a8, and, like, king f2, knight a4. But I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the point is. The point is if you go here, knight c5, right? And so you can't. But if you go bishop c1, and then rook c8. Okay, so you poke around the structure. That's hard to see. No, I like the idea of creating a weakness here and bringing the rook in. I think that's better. Just exclam join and you're golden. See, look, like Neodot did it. And you're already in Q Neodot, so it's no problem. And Saya, you're in. There you go. So I guess, I think this is the way of doing it. You try to make some way for your rook to enter the position. Okay, but here, king e2, g5, e4, knight c3 check, king d3, king g7, knight c4, f6. f6 feels a little weird. Rook a8 feels a lot more in the spirit of the position. Now rook a8 makes a ton of sense to me, but because now if takes, the rook gets in. Yeah, you can't join the queue when you're already in the queue. Then you could just join the queue a billion times. Takes knight 3, king f7. Okay, so you're just blocking the king over. That makes sense. Knight b5. Well, see now here's the thing. Here takes rook g8, and you're completely winning. Again, if you can find a way to get your rook into the position, then it's completely dominant. The problem is it's just not obvious how to do that. But white here gave you just a beautiful way to just walk your rook all the way in, and then the rook gets in on g3 or g1, or if you move the knight, then g2, and that's completely lights out. Yeah, that's completely lights out. Rook g3 probably. Some Petrosian Spirit to defend? Yeah, but there's no Petrosian Spirit that could save you in this position. Unless you're actually Petrosian. You need to actually be Petrosian. Yeah, here and then rook here, and you either take this pawn or you just sit on him some more. The bishop can rotate back to h6, which is depressing. And you could just slowly whittle away. Again, you need to piece improvements, right? Okay, knight b5. See, now the problem is, oh, d5 was unnecessary. F takes e6, knight takes e6, knight f5, and suddenly it's not as obvious anymore. I mean, obviously you're still winning, but g4, h takes. Because if white can take this, it's kind of hard. I guess you have rook h8. But it's hard. This is when the Petrosian Spirit starts to be annoying. You probably still win, but it doesn't look fun. I'm not having fun in that position. What about the bishop on y21? I prefer the bishop on y2k. Being a bit younger myself. c5, king g7, king off the diagonal, that's fine. Well, now he just gave himself another weakness for no reason. This is a huge problem. Knight c4, knight a3. Now we're talking. Bishop a4. Bishop c5? What? Rook h3? I was really expecting rook a3, rook h3. That seemed like such a clear way of winning this position. Is he reviewing a viewer game? Yes. Viewer decided he wanted to send in a viewer game instead of playing me, which is also an option. Bishop c5. Depressing. Yeah, so rook h3, and it's just completely over. But now, just somehow, bishop takes f6 is a move, and then this happens, and then, like, you got some problems. Because suddenly, king d4, king e4. Not king e4, king d4. Suddenly, this pawn can't move, and white's got two passes, one of which is protected. Yuck. So see, that's kind of this is how the Petrosian spirit works. You defend enough, you defend enough. Eventually, it's entirely possible that your opponent will mess something up, like Cormac did here. I would say it's even necessary. And when they do, if you jump on it, then it can be real bad. But here, he played the moves just out of order, just out of order. And so now the bishop got to get out with check. And then the game just ends because you're down a piece. But it was suspiciously close. So I would say this was, I mean, clearly just outplayed him. You just played a better game of chess than he did. However, in the end game, I think it would have benefited you once the queens came off. Let's say, well, first off, I would say it probably would have benefited you in like this position to spend like some of your 8 minutes. You have 8 minutes on the clock, your opponent has 6. Yeah, you could spend a minute here, 30 seconds, trying to kind of get a grasp of the position, what you want to trade, what pieces you don't want to trade, that sort of thing. Because if you could clarify that sort of stuff, and then in this position, the same general idea, you know, like I would be strongly considering, back here, I would be spending a little bit of time trying to figure out what my plan was. Cormac is on the list. Oh no. Kramnik's list, which is. Are we scared of being on Kramnik's list? I don't actually know. What consequences are there for being on Kramnik's list? It's not an obvious position to figure out a way through. I mean, also, you could probably just consider walking the king in somehow. Like, it's not the craziest thing to walk the king in first. Time management rapid. Well, I wasn't say this is bad, but you definitely gave him a chance he didn't deserve. I would definitely say that. It's Homie's turn. You make me look like a pro to a beginner. Yeah. He says that, but he's like the same elo as me. Did I spell Egyptian wrong? The Egyptian. Ah, I put the I before the A. Is Egyptian spelled with the I before or after the A? I don't actually know. You're being so mean to me. Bullying me with my own commands. I am correct. Okay, so I typed it right. The name is typed wrong. It's definitely I then A? Okay, okay. My spelling is quite bad. Not AI. Did somebody say AI? No. Oh, I forgot. I'm trying to learn the Rasalimo. Whoops. The greatest weakness to my learning openings is I forget to play them. Oh, okay. Well, Accelerated Dragon, I guess. It's really considered Egyptian chess pro to feature that Slavage guy on his Twitch channel. Pretty cool. Pretty cool of him. I appreciate that. He's got a very cool Twitch channel. Cool guy. Now, let's see how you play a Maroxy. I much prefer playing Maroxys as white. I can tell you, man. It's just, I do not like these positions as black. I sometimes get the move orders wrong as white, though. But it's fine. I will get it right. Ooh, also, while we're in a position where I don't have to think because there's only like 3 moves I can play, I'm definitely 2200, not 1250. Oh, you're obviously a 2200. Obviously. I know a 2200 when I see one. You're obviously 2200. Love the look of these positions white, but I never play them. I feel fine playing them as black. To me, I just always feel like I'm slightly more comfortable. You know? I never feel like any great degree of pressure. I'm Magnus Carlsen in disguise. Oh, yeah. That's so cool. I have Magnus Carlsen in my channel. Yeah, no, I know 2200 when I see one. Obviously. Of course. I'm playing in Simply Davina's winter hand and brain tournament that she's organizing. I have a picture. Where'd I put the picture? I have like an image somewhere. I'm gonna play A4. A4, B3. Because you've traded off one of your knights. And that's usually the knight that causes me problems by getting into these light dark squares on the queen side here. Random flank pawn, go. Exactly, random flank pawn, go! And it worked. Honestly, H4 is not the worst move in the position. It's not a good move, but it's definitely not the worst move in the position. Random flank pawn, go! Hey, if it works, right? If it's good enough for Magnus, then it's good enough for me. Ooh. It's an interesting move. I don't think I agree with it, but I'm not sure why. Guess we'll find out, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm playing in Symphony of Divina's Hand and Brain Winter Rumble, which is this upcoming Sunday. And so on Thursday, I'm actually going to be doing a stream with Agne Simon. I should have asked her how to pronounce her name. That's I need to do that. I need to add that to like the standard things I do when I'm going to collab with someone is like, how do you pronounce your name? Because now I'm just going to embarrass myself. So I'll link. Give me a second. Here we go. Playing with her. I'm going to be the brain. It's going to be good stuff. We're going to win everything, obviously. We're both underrated, and we both play Blitz too slow. And so I can see nothing going wrong with our professional partnership. Ooh. See, I thought this was bad. Maybe you can take that. Give me just a second. I'm trying to calculate the tactical ramifications of this whole thing. Yeah, I can win my pawn back pretty easy, but I don't really want to just win my pawn back. It's kind of boring. I guess I don't really have a serious way of proving anything. So it's probably best to just win the pawn back and call it, right? It's a shame. I definitely played something wrong here. Yeah, I kind of have to take more espresso, less depresso. That's true. I do need more espresso, but then I won't be able to sleep, and then I'll be extra depresso because then I'll also be sleep deprived. Also, thank you Neoda and Saya Saba. That's Definitely the wrong pronunciation. Correct me on that, please. Also, yeah, this is a funny haha Office reference. Yeah, definitely did something very wrong here. Bad chess this evening. Bad chess for the past week, honestly. It's because you know the reason I'm saving up all my power for the tournament on Sunday, so I'm not expelling energy for any of these viewer games, because I am saving it all. I'm gonna be like a spirit bomb of good chess. Exactly. Finally, someone who gets it. Exactly. The funny haha. I like this knight more than your light square bishop, so I'm going to see if I can not let you trade it. This might be wrong, but this might be wrong. Saying espresso should be a crime. Espresso? Yeah, it's probably punishable by never having an espresso again. I don't know, but I've definitely played this wrong. I shouldn't have given him the pawn. There was no reason. Simply just a rook e1 here would have been good enough, and then I play knight b5 next move. There was no rush. I rushed, and this is what I get for it. This overdefends g2 and also guards f, and also f3 blunts the bishop, so that's fine. I'm a hater? Oh yeah, for real, for real. Well, sometimes you just need to be a hater, you know what I mean? I think this clarified the position a lot and was completely unnecessary, because now I take the bishop and I take on d6 and then I like take on e5 and I'm totally okay. Like a fun lighthearted way? Exactly, yeah. The hater, but like the comic relief hater. I think this has really clarified the position a lot more than he should have. I'll take that. And then I'll take that. I mean, it can't be much worse here, can I? I don't think so. Because what do you even do? Do you play like a rook to d8? That looks most natural, but if you do, I just go either queen here or queen here, depending on which rook we move. If you go with that rook, I go queen c5, I think. Because now this pawn is weak and this pawn is weak. But I don't want to take this with queen for fear of rook e8, which doesn't look end of the world terrible. Like, I might have been able to get away with it, but it didn't feel right. I would be much happier with my position if I could take with rook. I'm the hater of haters. Based. That's me, I'm a hater. And that contradiction is one I will stay with, that will live with me till I die. It's a little scary. I'll do this, because I'm not afraid of losing the b3 pawn if I get, like, these two pawns to compensate. And this blunts the bishop further, and I really don't want to have to deal with that bishop. I am not excited about dealing with any bishop takes on f3 shenanigans. Appeal to your dead by the Egyptian. That sounds like, I don't know what that sounds like. It sounds like something. A tempo on the rook could be nice. And I could take this. It looks weird. Very weird position. I'm Very weirded out. Tempo on the rook, he takes on b3, and then I go like... Rook takes e5. Do I have rook takes e5? I'm a little scared of some sort of rook sack. Because, like, rook sack, pawn takes bishop sack. He's threatening mate, you know? It's a little scary. Part of me wants to just take this. It doesn't work, though. It'd be super cool if it did. So I have these two moves, right? I guess I could also go to g3. Maybe that's better. Yeah, g3's a lot less scary. I'm going to g3. Blocking this file and also allowing this rook to still capture on f3. I don't want to deal with this. Rose to the best hair and hairline. Thank you, Snail. So the hair canceled, the hairline's so neutral. Yeah, that sounds about right. I really hope the no shampoo thing that I'm trying out has been kind of annoying because my hair's been really like oily and hasn't really gotten better. So I'm going to give it another like week and a half because it's been like 5 weeks. I believe it's 5 weeks is what I calculated. And everyone says it gets better after week 5. So I'm going to give it another week to see if it gets better after week 5. And if it does, then I'll keep doing it. And if it doesn't, then I'm done. It's been an interesting journey. That's why I do shampoos, because my hair gets oily. Absolutely. This was an experiment. Some coconut oil. I definitely don't need more oil. I need less oil. That's the problem. Is an excess of oil, a glut of oil. Week 5 of not using shampoo and instead using apple cider vinegar. Or very watered down apple cider vinegar. Diluted apple cider vinegar. I should specify. I am dealing with a glut of oil, not a lack of oil. So, adding more oil to my hair sounds horrible. Sounds miserable. Use solution, shave your hair to 0 and start over? No. No, it's not a problem. My hair is healthy. It's not a hair health issue. It's just annoying because it's difficult to work with and it doesn't look very good. Because I don't know if this is like a thing most people's hair does, but my hair gets like really dark when it's very oily. Like the color changes and gets darker. And I don't like it. It's an oil issue. It is an oil issue. Very dry endgame. How do I win? Again, it's not like bad. It's not unhealthy. It's not any of that. It's just discolored and mildly annoying. What do you mean you don't? You never have you been here before? Oil in general so annoying. Why does it exist on our scalp? Because it helps keep our scalp from becoming dehydrated. It's very useful and very important. Bro wanted bishop e6. Not gonna give it to him. Google says baking soda is a good solution. I have been using baking soda. The problem is if I use a bunch of baking soda, in my hair, that kind of defeats the purpose of going shampooless. Because the whole point of going shampooless is you keep the amount of oil in your hair higher, and because of that, you end up with healthier hair because the human scalp is meant to be somewhat oiled at all times. But if you just use baking soda, then you might as well go back to shampoo because then you're stripping oil from your scalp again. Dandruff, I've never had a huge issue with, and so I still don't have a huge issue with dandruff. Get to B7, it's still a draw? Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a draw. Pandas, this is a rapid game where my opponent has a minute and a half on the clock. I will play just about anything. I do play over the board. My FIDE ELO is only like 1600 because I don't get the chance to play at that many over the board tournaments just because there aren't that many in my country. Pandas, I will play just about anything for the win. Does drinking water help or listening to music? I'm currently listening to music, believe it or not. The only reason I don't have music playing on my stream is because my music software is giving me some trouble, so I haven't finished setting it up yet because I've been super busy with school. You should come to Spain? Oh yeah, let me just take a trip over there and die of money lessness, die of broke disease. I'm listening to Born Yesterday by Quadeca currently. I have it on loop. I have for the past like 30 minutes. What country? Macedonia. Die of moneylessness disease? Yes. That's what I said. You got a problem with that? Is it possible you sweat a lot that makes it feel like oil? No, I don't sweat that much. Actually. I really don't sweat that much. I mean, I sweat some, but... I get it from my mom. Neither one of us sweat too much. Never really got into Quadeca. I could see that. But, man, I didn't mean to haunt you. Such an interesting album. That is how reality works. I'm sorry you've been misled, sussy. He's got 24 seconds. I'm going to win this. This is what I mean. I know this is absolutely a draw, objectively. And holding this isn't the most complicated thing if you know your rook endgames. But here's the thing. Nobody studies their rook endgames. Plan B. Go bald. I'm not going to go bald. I spent too much time. Too much time on all this hair. You got to finalize your top 5 albums of the year. Got it down to like 10. Vera Baldi's basics. You're already basic. You don't need bald. Ignore me. Ignore me. Are you Baltic? Well, I'm not Baltic and I don't live in a Baltic region. It's the Balkans and I am half. I'm Indian Underground. Yeah. The basic kind of Indian Underground. I mean, BCNR, really? Come on. Come on. They got like 500,000. Oh, yeah, Balkan, sorry. No problem. I don't mind. I'm just clarifying. Yeah, so I'm half. I've lived here 8.5 years, but I was born in the States, which is why I sound like an American. Half banana, half apple? Yes. And that's why I make an amazing smoothie. Really, man? You flag me? Well, I mean, come on. What am I supposed to do? Like, say no to the win? I know where's the ride? Yeah, but 7 Stitch has like 4,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, okay? I am 2 steps ahead of you. Am I next? I believe so. Let me check. Nope, Sussy's next, and then it's you, Neoda. Reels are good. They're so good. Thank you. Okay. We both played ridiculously high accuracy. What's your point? My point is, you're basic. How long have you been streaming? A few years. You started review? I'm gonna. I played with 94.8 accuracy. He played with 91.8. I played like a 2700. He played like a 2550. The only reason he lost his game is because he didn't have the endgame intuition. That's the only reason. The only reason your brother lost this, homies, is because he doesn't know his rook endgames by soul. Like, he doesn't have them heart memorized. He knows everything that could ever possibly happen. 7 bishop e3, knight f6, knight c3. Sure. And now bishop f3 is like my pet line that I kind of like messing around with. But here, knight b5 just was not a good move. Like, a rook e1 is significantly better. I hold the pawn first, and then I do it. Or just better than him? It's not that simple. It's not that simple. This position was slightly better for black for most of it. Like, f3 was a horrible mistake. Queen e4 was... knight e4 is much better. Because now I get, like, some active piece play, you know? But, no, I played f3. However, e5 was atrocious. I'm not sure what the point of e5 was. In this position, you do not play e5. It's also one game, you know? I'm 21 years old. I did not say I'm better than him. Someone else said I'm better than him. In these positions, your idea is almost never e5. You play d5. d5 is significantly better here. That's just a dragon thing in general. You almost never play e5. Sometimes you can, but almost never. It's almost always d5. In this position, it's even worse because bishop e sit 3 and I managed to get, if anything, a better position. But d5 here is just infinitely better. I still want my revenge. You can still have your revenge. That's not what I'm saying, but I play d5. What are you going to do? Win. Next question. This is significantly better because now it takes, and my knight is completely suppressed. You still have to deal with the threat of bishop e3, but now you do it via playing, like, I don't know. I mean, I can try this now, but now it's not as good. Evidently, you can take on e3, which is very funny. King h1, and you play, like, d4. And evidently, this is a very good position for you, which I believe. Because normally, Lasker compensation isn't enough. The reason it's enough here is because this pawn is amazingly strong. And as soon as I play, like, a knight move, you go rook f d8, or rook f e8, rook f d8, some rook move. And this is a thorn in my side, and I have no good way of getting rid of it. You have the bishop pair and an amazingly strong passed pawn. I don't have a plan. This is an impossibly difficult position to play. You do this, and then you're going to take on a4. You want to play b5 and then take them. This is, again, this is miserable for me. Absolutely miserable. I don't even know what I play here. Like, I legitimately can't find a move. I don't know, like rook d1 or something. And I'm completely, as black, you can literally just go back and forth with your king, and I will never win, because I don't have a plan. But and then so you have as much time as you want to figure out exactly how to torture me, exactly how to twist the knife. Time to play more endgames? Absolutely. I don't mean to be rude. However, your brother at 2100, he should know those rook and endgames, eyes closed, sleep deprived, and bullet. You know what I mean? Those are that sort of rook endgame stuff. Bro's like my English teacher. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Queen d6, rook a8, queen c5. I didn't want to take here. I was a little worried about rook d3, rook a8, but evidently I take on a5 and I don't care. So either way, I got a little bit timid, but either way, we played this, and it's triple zeros. Especially after takes here. Doesn't learn that much endgames because boring. That's fair, but I'm telling you, it'll hurt. It hurts his chest. Pretty objectively. A very, very bad thing. So listen, in this position, no, not this. You just rook b1. You go rook b1. I go king h2. Honestly, rook b2. You move this back and forth. Right now, you move this back and forth. And then as soon as I do what I did in the game, which is here, you go king h6. Or king h5 even. And then you go back and forth again. No, that's way worse. No offense, Cormac, that's way worse. Then you do this again. And what do? If I go rook f8, you take this, and you don't care. Because now this is incredibly easy to draw. King g6, rook f4. king g5, king h5, and rook b1 again. King h5 was a mistake. King h5, it doesn't matter. It's very, very clearly drawn. One pawn is not enough to win in a rook endgame. So this is, king h5 is the simplest way. It's probably better to go king f4. Because now I'm actually in Zugzwang, believe it or not. But this actually requires you to calculate. I was going calculationless. This you don't need to calculate. There's no calculation happening. I can't check you. You can now move your rook back and forth. I can't check you and I can't get my king in. Those are the two things you have to prevent. You have to prevent me from walking with my king in, and you have to also prevent me from getting a rook check and queening. If you prevent both of those, then I have no way of winning, and you can move your rook back and forth. That's why this is... Thank you. And that's why this is, for me, the move I was thinking. Because the king can't walk in, and you can't check and promote. It's not a waste. If you want to get better, endgames are not a waste. King f4 is even better because it immediately draws. It's Zugzwang. I do not have a good move. I can't move any of my pawns. If my king moves, I just get mated. And so I have to play something like, I don't know, rook c8, rook d8, some rook move. And as soon as I play a rook move, you take this pawn, and it's the most drawish position of all time, you know? I cannot explain to you how many wins I get against equally rated opponents in rook endgames. Because nobody knows their rook endgames. Like king g1 here. Mom, wait! Herkel Dirkler. I swear I've heard that one before. King e3 works here? King e3 is probably fine. No, king e3 doesn't. No, rook b6. Mad long after it's time to get up. Oh, it's literally me. Next time be prepared, I hope. Oh, I believe it. The king just kind of needs to stay here. The king doesn't really have anywhere to go. And you play rook g6. I don't know Morse code to blink. Help in Morse code. Stream ended. I wouldn't be able to do it. I couldn't do it, man. They would just have to shoot me. Honestly, if I were in a hostage situation, they would just have to shoot me. I would have a breakdown. He wants to fight the main character, Cormac. Cormac is the main character. This is true. But honestly, again, this is why the king f4 stuff I didn't like. It's because just don't even think about it. I don't want to think. Honestly, I would play h6. h6. And then if I go here, then this is the easiest draw ever. And if I do what I did in the game, go rook b8, then it's the same stuff. Same stuff. Well, first off, this is mate threat, so you go here, and then I go rook back to b2 or b3 or whatever. Here, and then I go king h5. This is even better. Pawn on h6 is even better. Sack a piece in the X game no matter what. I mean, I can if you want. I'll try. Shout out or let go because I couldn't shut up about BCNR. Me, literally me. Just this, and you go back and forth with the rook. And again, the king can't get in. The rook has no checks, no progress. G3 square's a real deal here. Exactly. The reason I let this happen is because I want it. Because again, I don't mean to be rude, but nobody studies their rook endgames. So people don't know that the way you do this is you just say, okay, no checks, no king entry, nothing to worry about. Back and forth with the rook. Actually, you should probably do these two squares, but it doesn't make a difference. This would still draw. Like, it doesn't matter. And as soon as I move the rook, you take this. And then easiest draw of all time. There's nothing. More like a brand new potential audience. Yay! Again, you just... And it's brain dead easy if you know what to look for. If you know what to look for, it's brain dead easy. If you don't know what to look for, you will never find it. No, imagine I'm in a hostage situation. They have like they're recording me with, I don't know, like what, like their Huawei phone or whatever, and to put the video on YouTube, right? And I'm like talking. I'm like, oh yeah, something something money. And when this is all over, if you want to see my process of getting back to mental sanity, come to twitch.tv/alchemy_blob, just plugging the stream, you know? On that content grind. Can you imagine? I'll make the news. How many eyeballs do you think I'll have on my stream then? Come on. I could get a sponsorship. Who would sponsor me? Who would sponsor me after a hostage situation? That's the real question. Are you blob and fish? Yes. Is Sussy still here? I don't see him in chat, so I'm just gonna say no. Grind like a sane Twitch streamer? That's a little bit oxymoronic. Neoda, it's your turn. What's your chess.com name? Mr. Da. Seemingly Nene? Yes. I did see that. Actually, I saw one last week before I started streaming and I reported her. But... Neoda 16? Hey. Ooh, Netherlands. You know, I just talked to some Dutch people. Like, literally, I just went to dinner with some Dutch people like 2 days ago. Very tall. When I went to Amsterdam, it was the only place in the world where I felt short. I'm like 185, 187, right? In Amsterdam, I felt like a midget. It was the weirdest thing, man. I don't understand it either. Unless I repair my cheats, go for it, man. Do it. Double dog dare. No. I don't understand, because the thing for me is you can immediately tell from the thumbnail what stream is that and what stream isn't that. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like with some of the other ones, like, okay, it's not immediately, it's like there's some, I'm not going to call it plausible deniability, but there's some like, okay, maybe they're doing something else and just out of no, that one feels like dead obvious. It's crazy. It's so clearly against terms of service. And it's so, but I mean, honestly, all the copyright abuse stuff has been clearly against terms of service the entirety of Twitch lifespan. They haven't done anything about that either. So like, I mean, so Twitch's reputation, do something cool because bored? Guys, I've never had to be cool before. I'm a chess player. Help. Wait, why'd you come to a chess stream and ask film to be cool? That's ridiculous. That's unfair. I don't know if this is a good move, but I'm doing it. Impossible. No. Hello. Play the Petrov. The Petrov isn't cool. See, this is why you can't trust Twitch chat. The Petrov is like the opposite of cool. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ah. Ignore that. I'm playing in a hand and brain tournament on Sunday. Ignore the other images in my photo reel. It didn't zoom in at all. You get the idea. Hey, now we're talking. So, hand and brain tournament. Petrov is very good. The Petrov is not cool. Who brainwashed you? Oh, that was a mistake. The Petrov is not cool. I'm sorry to be the one to tell y'all, but it just isn't. No, this is cool. Okay, that was an accident. That was an accident. Be cool. I immediately, like, I immediately post documentation for the Rust programming language. Boom. That's called gaming right there. That's how you know. That's how you know I'm cool. Okay, that was epic. That was your fault, man. A chess stream. Gosh, can't think of a worse place. Boom. Here come the pawns. I want the king on h1 anyway. F4 might have been a terrible move. I actually don't know. I haven't thought it through. Typical stuff. Wait, how did you recognize the Rust programming book so quickly? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I might actually be cool comparatively. How did you recognize the Rust programming book so quickly? Hey. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, obviously, I think you're being a bit facetious, but even then, I don't think that's the case. I think just Twitch at this point has a reputation where they are just very lenient with the rules to everybody. If you're a bigger streamer, if you're a smaller streamer, it hurts, but I don't know why. Honestly, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me if I'm being honest. Because I would expect that you would be more strict with the people who are like upholding your brand. That makes sense. I can see that. But again, you would expect that you would be more strict with the people who are brand reps. You know? There's a chess move generation library in Rust. Bro, there's like 4. I've got like 1.5 interests. That's the first thing I looked into. You would expect more screening, but just really aren't on that much of it. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's weird. Not a chess move library. Interesting. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I'm not going to say it's an easy thing to implement, but it's such a simple thing to implement that you like somebody's going to do it at some point. And plus the overlap for software engineers and chess players. Come on. Come on. Now we're talking. I've been waiting like 5 moves for this to work. Now I get a fork no matter what he does. Oh, I also had bishop takes b5 there. I played too fast. Okay, that's fine. And something Rust adjacent. Oh, God, heard the huge news. Congratulations. I mean, I'm really excited about it, but I'm not exactly sure why it's huge news. Crossbow chess GUI. Hmm. Hmm. It's written partially in Rust. How have I never heard of this? Hold on, how have I never heard of this? I don't know what Tari is, to be fair, but I've been looking for chess GUIs constantly, over and over again. But I couldn't find any other than like Skid, which I don't like Skid at all. It was good, but I just like it's hideous, man. Rand resigning since they realized it counts as intentionally losing. Oh yeah, that's good. I like that one, Dale. Very fresh on, read like 2 weeks ago. Is it already in the Arch? Is it already in the AUR? It's not even in the AUR. Whoa. Okay, hold on a second. Try to build something similar. I was also thinking of trying to build something similar. That's part of the reason I was learning Rust. It's because, like, okay, it can't be that hard. Why is nobody doing this? Which is usually when I say that, I end up finding out that the thing is really, really hard to do. But my point is, I learn a lot along the way. More established languages? Well, that's true, but I mean, that's kind of a that's almost a good thing. It's more fun. Bro, I said something is hashtag media. Okay, let me see that. Was there another controversy? Another FIDE controversy? Atari's like Electron. Wait, is it like because isn't Electron like bloated? That's just the back end instead of Electron. Oh, that makes sense. TypeScript. You got any? I'm sorry, Magnus. Like, come on. But the point is that Rust is faster. Well, yeah, Rust is just cool. All my homies like Rust, and that's not because it's the first programming language I've ever tried to learn. Everyone says like, oh, your first language should be something easy, like a Python, and I'm like, why? That's so boring. Downloadable apps? Yeah, exactly. So it's basically a web engine, which is terrible. Mm-hmm. Or at least it's overused. Not overused, but it's easier. I mean, it's like what you're gonna do, right? I was looking at trying to learn some Rust and messing around in like Iced, you know, because Iced seemed pretty cool. Garbage collector in Rust or not? No, there is not. That's the whole point of Rust. The whole point of Rust is that you don't need a garbage collector because the language by design forces you to be memory safe. Base Dezo. See, Rust has a weird name, but it has an adorable frog. Not frog, an adorable crab as the mascot. And I think that's the most important part. The crab really is the star of the show here. There's not a garbage collector in Rust because Rust forces you to be memory safe. Rust is basically modern C++, but the compiler doesn't let you even dream of potentially having a memory error somewhere in your code. So because of that, the compiler is evil, and like to do anything, you have to appease the compiler first. But the upside is that it's actually very difficult to make memory unsafe code, like legitimately near impossible. So like, for example, Google has been trying to transition their development on Android to Rust because there's so many fewer memory leaks. There's like nothing. There's like no memory errors ever. It's like difficult. Manage memory. It's more challenging but fun at the same time. Yes, you do need to manually. Oh, it's kind of. You just need to. Yeah, it's a weird mix. Miss and Moss, thanks so much for the raid. Let me show you out real quick. It's kind of, yeah. But it's not the same as C++ manual memory management. It's because it won't let you make a mistake in the memory management. So you do have to do it so it's like tedious in a sense, but you can't get it too wrong. Let me shout you out. How's the stream? We're discussing programming languages because it's something I definitely know a whole lot about. All right, let me look at your channel real quick. How's your stream? So Rust is a little bit of a pain, but it's not really that much more of a pain than C++ from what I've heard. I don't know C++, so can't tell you, but from what I've heard, it's not any more difficult than C++. And has the benefit of you will never, unless you like actively try to. Yep, nope. You don't understand. I've read a third of the Rust documentation, and that is my programming knowledge. I know, I'm an expert. I'm just really good at pretending I know what I'm talking about. It's a skill. You know what? This is a draw. I'll accept the draw offer. I am just fire at pretending I know what I'm talking about. Different design philosophies? Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, here's the thing: if you're not manually managing your memory, and you do a language with a garbage collector, it's just not going to run as well. It's just simply not going to be as low level of a language. And so Rust is trying to be a low level language. Like people are rewriting the Linux kernel in Rust. Like you wouldn't do that in like, I don't know, a language that has a garbage collector. You know what I mean? I'm just that good. I was terrified, Neoda, honestly. Yeah, of course I accepted the draw. It was a draw. Is the Rust programming language as much fun as Rust Survival video game? I've never played Rust Survival video game, and I'm pretty new to the Rust programming language, so I wouldn't know. Yeah, of course. Like, of course. Of course, Pixin. They're designed for different things. That's why we have multiple languages, right? That's why we don't have one language for everything. Is because, you know, like I said, you wouldn't write the Linux kernel in Rust, but also, like, Rust requires so much more like work to get anything to happen that if you need something simple and you don't care about efficiency, Rust is a terrible idea. You should be using Python or something. Write the Linux kernel in Bash. See, even I know that's a bad idea. And that's how you know it's a really bad idea. Okay, do you actually know the Benoni, Neoda? Or did you kind of just stumble into this? I'm a little curious. Tried to play the Indian? You totally can. All you need to do is you need to just play like D5 at some point. Or delay C5 a little bit more. Because we transposed into a Benoni. You can play the Indian. Honestly, you could just play D5 here if you wanted and go for that. Or you could play like D6 and go into G6 and play this. You can transpose into a bunch of different Indians. You could go Queen's Indian, but the way you did it transposed into a Benoni. Which Indian? That's the $1 million question. Ooh, knight d2 is a very good move. Knight to 2h3, and I basically say, what are you doing, right? But I went greedy. I went bishop g4, bishop g5, and I'm like, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to check, and I'm going to take your bishop. Knight d2 is a standard idea. I'm not super familiar with the Benoni, but I believe you. It makes a lot of sense. And now this was a dumb move. This should not have worked. But my intention was if bishop d7, I was going to go either queen e4 or queen b3. I hadn't decided yet which one I was going to play. Both looked good, but for different reasons. I was leaning queen b3, but I probably would have gone queen e4 at the end of the day. Benoni. And then I just go e4. And I like the knights better than the bishops in this position. Maybe I'm Delulu, but this looks good. Either way, it's chess. Obi-Wan Benoni, exactly. Mignoni. Because the little n with the n with the comb over is a nya, right? C++ developers may have more predictable control over low-level details such as memory layout and optimization. That's why it's dominated the game dev. Well, yeah, and also because like optimization is super important for games. But has C++ dominated game dev? I thought C# was more the game dev language. But also, yeah, speed. I'm not that mad. I won like 5 games of Rapid today. You know what? Fair enough. Oh, it's a deb file. This on croissant looks good. I'll have to try it because I am so tired of Skid. It's clearly, I can see what they're going for, but it's just hideous. It's slow, and the user interface is the most counterintuitive thing. It's trying to be chess based, but chess based is also terrible. C# is the language used to control the game engines like Unity, right? Training or anything else for performance is very important. Yeah, of course. So, but again, Rust could replace C++ in those. Rust theoretically could and might and maybe even will replace C++ in those sorts of high performance situations, because Rust isn't less performant than C++. Because runtime, the same thing happens. The difference is basically the compiler. One part about the project you start making open source contributes to it. I might actually, if I can figure out how Rust works, or fork it and try your own stuff. That's not a bad idea. It'd be a good way to learn, right? I'm going to finish the Rust documentation first because I still don't know what half of the words mean. Because again, this is my first language. I don't know any Python. Technically, I know a little bit of Bash, but like, it's Bash. Okay, doesn't count. I'm an Arch user. I need to know Bash. See, I know what a seg fault is like vaguely, but I haven't gotten to the part where seg fault is a thing that we learn. Again, I'm only like a third of the way through. I can tell you exactly how much. I think I'm like halfway through enums, I believe. No, that's not true. Hold on a second. No, yeah, I'm halfway through enums. Because again, normally someone who's learning Rust already knows C++ or C or even like a Python or a JavaScript or a Java or something. And so you vaguely know what things. Who cares about enums? Someone probably? Segmentation fault, trying to access memory beyond the confines of the allocate memory region of your program. I knew it was a memory error of trying to access memory you weren't supposed to access, but I didn't know that much detail. You know, on croissant is fresh when it's not even in the AUR. How do I add something to the AUR? That's something I need to do. I need to contribute on croissant to the AUR. So you need to be a little more careful. No clue? I know there's a process for it. I read about it somewhere a few months back, but I haven't done anything with it because everything I want is already in the AUR. Except for like Firebot, which is the Twitch bot I use. That's not in the Arch user repository either, but... So this was all fine, but you spent 2 seconds playing Knight D7. Occasionally, it makes sense to slow down a little bit. Yeah, I don't think seg faults are that general. From my limited knowledge, they're not that general. And see, now it's just me winning a piece up. And since I'm a dum-dum, I didn't play the correct move here. This just is mate immediately, and it's really pretty. Like, look at that. Teamwork. But the way I did it was lazy, and so I just took material. Playing check allowed me to move my rook to h8, which is why I was surprised. I expected you to play rook king here. Because, I mean, I guess I play check here in that case, and then I go for this, but... And now I'm just up a rook. Again, you held on very well, and I appreciate you playing basically until mate. But it's just you played too fast in the opening. I don't know if you played a lot of blitz. Maybe that's the problem. And so you're not used to longer time controls. That happens. I know that happens, but... Are we good for 1200? I would say so. It's just, again... You need to be constantly keeping track of which one of your pieces are weak. This bishop, especially after I took the knight. If I take that knight and the bishop's weak, that should be like an alarm bell. Like, oh no, he's going to try something goofy because I'm going to try something goofy. Never seen goofy ideas? You've seen a lot of goofy ideas. Okay, I'll send you a challenge. Yeah, I was actually just while I was in Italy a few weeks back, I was just looking for more chess GUIs. Ooh, Georgia. And I found one called Chess Squid, which looks interesting. It's paid, it's not open source, which I don't need it to be open source. I like open source, of course, but I don't need it to be open source. But even then, it hasn't had any updates in a year, and they haven't been active on socials in a year. And I emailed them, I was like, hey, is this still a live project? And they haven't responded in 3 weeks. So I think the project's dead when it didn't gain as much traction. Chess, the squids are indeed gooey. I lost 10 elo. Ooh, that hurts. I mean, that's chess, right? But so I didn't do anything with chess squid because I'm like, okay, they spent 3 weeks to respond to an email. If someone's saying, hey, I'm willing to pay for this, but I want to know if it's not dead, then that's a pretty good sign that they're dead. He's now 2100. Ah, it's not that bad. I think you're supposed to play bishop d7 here. I've played knight d7 a few times, and then you get hit with like bishop e5 and like queen a5 or something, and queen a4 and something. It's like really annoying. So I think I've messed this up before and played knight d7, and I think you're supposed to play bishop d7. You know what? If you want to take, knock yourself out. This pawn on f3 is a weakness. I'm not going to take and help you resolve that. If you want to take me and open my bishop for me, be my guest. And if not, then I'll take next move, because then now I can play bishop c5 with tempo on the queen, or I can play check and then castle. This is the sort of thing, not relieving this tension. I'm not going to say it's a high-level move, but it's a move that a lot of people wouldn't think about. When I was in Italy, the grandmaster we had as our coach / captain, he said something which I think is pretty profound. He said that in any given position, you should really always have more than one candidate move. And so even like if you don't, then you should really start considering other options, because if you only have one move that you think you can play, that's not a red flag per se, but you should really be trying to not have that, let that be the case. Really is not ideal to only have one candidate move for any given position. Takes, bishop check. I'm just going to go king e7. I'm not remotely afraid of anything now that the queens are off the board. And if we trade bishops, then I want to trade bishops because in endgames, you would rather play against one bishop than two. And after trading dark squared bishops, putting my king on a dark square when he has a light squared bishop, I'm very not worried about any potential danger. And meanwhile, he's got these doubled pawns on the queen side, which I think are probably some kind of weakness. Although, honestly, it's a very dry position. It's the Alapin, right? It's difficult to get a winning position in the Alapin as black. So now I'm just kind of casually attacking this pawn. And I can bring my rooks out fairly quick. It's like, okay, it's a chess position. It's not the best thing in the world. It's not the worst thing in the world. We play chess. My A pawn is kind of weak, which is annoying. It's not like that weak. But his B2 pawn is kind of weak. He's a little underdeveloped. We play chess. Very dry sort of position. Interesting. Interesting. What am I going to do? I'd love to play a6, but a6, if he moves the bishop, it's kind of annoying. Problem is knight b3 isn't really possible because then he basically traps my knight. So I have to go like e4 or something. Which, I mean, isn't the end of the world. This is a clever inclusion, I think. But, okay. I could play like rook hd and then like knight d6. Like a6, knight b5. It's chess. Now it's endgame technique, which I'm pretty comfortable playing endgame technique against an 1800. Because, again, people just don't study their endgames. And so, maybe our Georgian friend is an exception, but we'll see, right? Believe it when I see it. It's gonna be a grind, for him and for me. I can't decide whose position I'd rather play. I probably objectively rather play white's because the bishop is quite strong in endgames, and so. But there's a dynamic. The bishop versus knight is playable for both sides, especially if I trade off a knight and then it's just straight bishop versus knight and not bishop and knight versus two knights. It's bishop and knight versus two knights is not fun. Not fun. But okay. It's not a decision I fully agree with. First, let's kick the bishop and also deprive the knight of the square. Additionally, the bishop doesn't have a square that's immediately obvious for where it wants to go. And rook d2 is a move I'm going to play soonish. I think it depends on where he moves the bishop. Here can't be good because I get this, right? And I get to take his bishop, and then it's totally fine for me. So I would assume you go a4. Bishop a4 looks right. Because e2 can't be good because you give me rook d2 with tempo. That doesn't make sense. c4 can't be good because I get the bishops off the board, and so now it's a knight endgame. I like my chances there better because I think my pieces are better placed. Bishop d3 just hangs the bishop, and so it leaves you only really with bishop a4. The nice thing... it's kind of annoying. Only because... I mean, I could play b5 and try to just play around how bad his pieces are. Because, again, bishop b3 is impossible, bishop d1 is hideous, so you really would have to play, like, bishop c2, and then rook d2, and... But the eighth... I don't know. I don't know. It's definitely an idea. Just saying, okay, your pieces are terribly misplaced. Prove me wrong. Again, I would love to go rook d2, but I'm just not 100% convinced that knight c4 doesn't do anything. I'm a little hesitant to invite the knight in, you know what I mean? I mean, maybe I can afford to play like rook takes here, but I think the problem is that he can include knight b3, knight b6 in the position. That doesn't look fun. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll play rook a c8 first. Prevent knight c4. It's a little slow, because it does allow like a rook d1, which takes a lot of wind out of my sails, but Knight c4 is just not a move I want to have to deal with. Okay. Sure. Sure. This knight currently isn't doing very much. Where can I put this knight where it'd be the best piece on the board? Where can I put this knight? I'd love to get the knight like here. This is also interesting, but doesn't do anything right now. It's bad. I say unto you, I could try to trade all the rooks off, but I think that benefits him more than me. Unless I can get my king in really fast, but I don't see that happening. I think too much. Shouldn't be thinking. I think I'll go here. Knight d5. I don't see a meaningful threat for white, and this knight isn't doing very much. So if I can rotate this knight to a more active post, then I'll be good. Rook e1 is a little weird, but I'm not too afraid of it. I can almost play knight takes here. Just can't quite. So sad. So sad. Move this knight. Don't exactly want to let him have it for nothing. Over defend the c4 square. This knight's pretty poorly placed. That's pretty much what I'm playing around right now. Can't deal with the diagonal issues. The funny thing is you can't take on h7 because of the Fischer tactic of g6, right? I call it the Fischer tactic because that's how Fischer lost a game to Spassky. Is he just kind of let that happen? It's kind of annoying. It's actually very annoying. He's playing a good endgame. I'll play h6. I'll play h6, and then I can consider doing this in the future. The problem is just he was threatening to take this, and he was also threatening to take this. Which theme do you like in chess? Do you mean like a colorway, like on chess.com, or do you mean theme like positional theme in chess, the game itself? I have answers for both, but they're different. F3 makes a lot of sense. Let's play h6. Again, my opponent's playing a good endgame. It's really a shame. I think I rotate this way. Ooh. Yuck. He wants my head. Don't think he's threatening anything meaningful there. Knight's guarded, rook's guarded. Again, his pieces are poorly enough placed that I'm not too scared. We'll see, though, you know? Knight c4 is kind of what I want to play here. I don't know which knight, actually, though. That's the question. I'm going to play knight bc4. Knight bc4 looks correct. I'm pretty happy with this, just because it means I can just get a pure knight versus bishop, which is what I've been trying to do this entire time. Because I want to outplay my opponent, but it's very difficult to do that when there's so much material on the board and so much just chess. Now that it's a strictly knight versus bishop, I feel like I have a lot better chances of getting some sort of win. I still think objectively it's either even or he's slightly better, but you know, objectivity is overrated. Let's keep his king out. So the knight wants advanced support squares, the bishop wants open diagonals. The bishop also wants pawns to be on its color. the knight wants pawns to not be on the bishop's color, so it's the pieces want opposite things. This push isn't too scary. Okay, sure. Check, king e4, knight d4, bishop d1, knight c6, king, pawn takes e5, knight takes b4. That looks pretty forcing and it looks pretty good. Except, check, king here, here, bishop d1. The problem is after knight c6, he can play b5, I think. No, then takes. And then something goofy. Knight a7 can't be a good move. I refuse to accept that knight a7 is a good move. Takes, and I go back to d4, right? I'm attacking both of these pawns. That looks good. Looks pretty forcing, except the problem that is if I check, he can just take. You like my chess? You like the interesting ability I have to calculate a deep rabbit hole that ends up just losing a piece on the first move? I like that. That's pretty cool. It's pretty gamer. Would I rather play f6 and have this isolated pawn, or would I rather take this and let his king in a little faster? I think I'll let his king in a little faster. Not too afraid of that. Not too scared. Yeah. This also allows king d6, which is where my king wants to go as well. Very difficult endgame. Are we getting fissured this endgame? Probably not. Time is a factor. Check, bishop takes. Do I play pawn takes or king takes? Don't actually know. King takes? You can't really get in. I think this king and pawn endgame looks fine. I think. It's hard to tell. Terrible move. What am I doing, man? Just absolutely horrible chess. But okay. My king is forced too far back. I'm probably losing. That doesn't look right. That doesn't look right at all. I think he gets tempoed before I do. There we go. Still objectively very much draw, probably. B5 was, or B4, whatever it was, B6 was not a good move. Doubling his own pawns here, now he can't make a passer. That's the problem. You need passers in king endgames. He deprived himself of a passer, and now he's worse, if anything. This is why people need to study their endgames. This is what I mean. This guy was pushing for the win. I had no chances of doing anything other than just losing on the spot. But suddenly... Chiribu chiriba. This is no longer a draw. The queen. We check. We take. We check. We play this. We check. We play this. We check. We check. Take the pawn. Now I push this all the way to queen. Oh, I thought it was his move. There we go. Man. King and pawn endgames, am I right, fellas? I'm fairly certain I was losing. GG, I panicked. Yeah, the king and pawn endgame, I'm 99% sure was losing for me. 99% sure. Maybe I'm wrong. But I really think I should have lost that. But after B5 was just horrible. B5 was totally unnecessary. What was the idea? Oh no, I wasn't losing. It was a draw. Nice. Yeah, I was going to be suffering. I was going to suffer. No, it was a draw, actually. It was completely drawn the entire time until you played B5. Yeah. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. So bishop D7 is incorrect. Is it knight D7? I thought this was the line where this happens. Sometimes this happens. But evidently this is not the line. There's a line where you get hit with that and you lose. But okay. Yeah, queen B3 is a problem here. I thought something like this. Oh, queen takes F7. Yeah, that was terrible. Okay, so first off, you should have killed me there. Should have died. But now we play this. Very dry position. Very dry. You played very well, to be fair. You played around the bishop, and it was good. You played extremely well. And you played well in this endgame as well. It was misery. This was miserable. You absolutely played like a 2100. This game was miserable. And the only problem was your king and pawn endgames here. B5 was horrible. I know according to the computer it's not the losing move, but this is just an absolutely disgusting move. Because listen, so how do you win king and pawn endgames? What is the one thing that wins you a king and pawn endgames as soon as you get it? Pretty much. It's a little more complicated than that, but what's the one thing that's like instant winning king and pawn endgames? What? It's not rhetorical. Looking for an answer. Anyone can answer, not just Sabaya. So yeah, passed pawn. Passed pawn, correct. So we both have I have a 3-on-2, you have a 3-on-2. So both of us have the theoretical possibility of creating a passed pawn, right? The problem is my king's pushed far back, so it's really hard for me to create one without making weaknesses that you can just walk into. So after b5, so you have this pawn majority, which means you're getting a passed pawn here if you're getting one. And if I'm getting one here, right? After b5 takes, you will never get a passed pawn anymore, which means effectively you're down a pawn. You are now playing a down a pawn, king and pawn endgame. This pawn might as well not exist, right? So on this position, I'm struggling to survive. Yeah, b5 can't push. Are we sure? You play king here, and then you push, and you take with king. The only way I survive this is I have to find here, and then evidently I hold this. Evidently this is holding. But still, I have to always be worried about c5, which means my king has still tied over here. Because if you ever play c5 and successfully, then I lose. So evidently you can hold this, which that makes sense, right? It's not going to be easy, but you can hold it. And we end up with something like this. And here I lose. I have to play king e7 or something. King e5. Then king d6. And then king e6. And I have to hold on this way. Right? Now, I might have found b6, g6, but you don't even have to play b5 right now. You can wait. You can hold on a second. Right? You can repeat if you'd like. You have some time. Or heck, you could even go c5, which maybe this isn't good here, but another thing that I was trying to calculate for you is a c5 and then king c4, b5. Which evidently this is drawing too. And I was trying to justify this whole idea. But evidently the problem is I get my king to c6 in all the lines. So, in which case, I would say this is the best plan. You have to try something, right? So that's why this is a draw, is because your advantage isn't very good because these pawns are doubled, which makes them harder to push. I can get a passed pawn easier. However, my king is also further back, so it's an imbalance, right? Now, but the thing is, you made it from difficult to get a passed pawn to impossible to get a passed pawn. As soon as that happened, now it's way harder for you to play chess before you lose immediately. The tempi don't work out. Here, king d7, king e5, and I run out of moves to play. Because I can't let you in, right? I mean, maybe I could play g6. Maybe I could try this. It shouldn't work, but I could try it. Right? You're in time. You're just barely in time. And what? Queen c1, king b7, queen h1. And it's the most draw of all time. Right, I take this pawn and we draw. Shake hands. Something else of note. And suddenly you allow me to have f6. Uh-oh. And you get zuxwanged. b4 is unnecessary. You can go here, and I can't get in time. You play king 8. You go here and you threaten a pawn. That's the problem. I can't step away from the queen side, but now I don't have to. Now I don't have to because you get pushed back. You can't even move backwards here, which is the depressing part, because you gave me the opposition, right? Now I play g6 because I'm dumb, and you could have played king d5 here with the same idea, and you're tempo shy. But you can probably get away with it e5 here. So here I probably wouldn't play f6. I would probably play king d7. But then you have king e5, and we repeat. Hello, pigeons. But now I found f6. In the game, the reason I didn't play f6 immediately is because it was low on time. Do you have students? No. I haven't set it up yet. I've been ridiculously busy. Like, I haven't had a 2-hour open time slot in the past week. And like I said, I want to purchase an online coaching session for myself to see what I like and what I don't like before I set it up myself. But I like legit, because I just went shopping today. I spent like an hour and a half, 2 hours at the grocery store, shopping for a Christmas party, and then I have exams. It's been a disaster of a week from a time management perspective. But here I have king f7 and I play g6 and I win anyway. So that's what I missed. So I didn't play perfect in the king pawn endgame either. And evidently this is a draw as well, because you could play this, which I really thought you couldn't. I was really thinking that you would have a difficult time with this one. Evidently you're just in time though. I'm a tempo late and a dollar short. Right. So evidently this works too. $2 per hour. I'm assuming it's my friends from school. I was about to say $2 an hour. That's pretty cheap. Hey, Norwegian. Famous legendary politician, Norwegian Filiboy, who is in newspapers Norway-wide. Then yeah, it's pretty easy win here. I can win this with 20 seconds. So very good game of chess. Very good game of chess. Just work on your king and pawn endgames. They're so fundamental. Hey, listen, it's $40 an hour. Oh, you're doing a group class. Never mind. Then that makes perfect sense. I thought they were one-on-one. No. That makes a lot more sense. That's basically exactly something I was considering doing as well, but in person. Because doing a group class like that online is a disaster. No, in that case, that makes perfect sense. Addicted to the grind. Which, I mean, judging by how much this whole Christmas season has destroyed my wallet, I probably should start doing a coaching. But they have to be quiet? Of course. No. It makes perfect sense, but it's still difficult to do online. Or borderline impossible. We've got a Black Lion. Weird way of playing. But okay. And look at this. White castled, but black basically castles by playing this king c7 stuff. And if you take, then the bishop pair's worth it. These doubled pawns are kind of nice because you can play f5. Rookie numbers. You need to get those numbers up. c4, knight takes. Oh, I just gave you a pawn. That was generous. And look at the piece activity. See, this is what I mean. c4, I don't like. What's the point of c4? That's just a very bad move. It blocks in his own bishop long term. It doesn't contribute to the position. This pawn is the current problem. There's multiple things you can consider. I would even consider, I don't know if it's good, but playing knight d2 here is on my radar, just so I could play like f3 and maybe rotate the knight to a more important square like c4. Rookie streamer got to go streaming hours up? True. Like, this is something I would consider as well. I don't know if it's good, but it feels in the spirit of the position. You know? But c4 is just real bad. Real bad. And now the pawn structure is... I would say take the open file. Rook A makes most sense to me. Then after Rook HD... Takes... I don't know. Knight here can't be too bad. Yeah. Then you go here, and then you go Rook D8, and you take the open file again. This is just brutal. I mean, Knight D4 can't be that much worse, if I'm being honest. The problem with Knight D4 is you just let him play Rook D1 here. And that's kind of the issue. But I guess you could play... I would play Rook A D8 here, and I'm still pretty happy. Yeah, this is definitely fine. So, the way you did it definitely works as well. That's an interesting comment coming from someone with your username. Knight B5, Rook E3, Rook D4, A4. Just take the bishop, take the pawn, take that pawn, and now this is just a destruction. This is just death, man. Putting all the pawns on dark squares, principle. A few people have done it, actually. It's pretty common. King B6, Rook F1, Rook A4, King B1, Bishop D4, Rook B3 check, King A5. Just slow. This is beautiful. This is just how to win an endgame, man. C8, King D2, Rook A2. And now you're up just so many pawns. Oh, and taking with the rook here, just preserving your pawn structure. No reason not to. And he's from the same country as Aming. True. Do you get mad? Usually not. Usually not. I'm pretty tilt resistant. I'm not going to say I'm tilt proof. Nobody's tilt proof, but I'm pretty tilt resistant, especially on stream. Because frankly, I'm just happy to be here. Just give up the exchange. It doesn't even matter. I'm up 82 pawns. I don't need the exchange. And he gives the exchange back out of desperation, but that's just too much. And then rook g5, just blocking it in. Beautiful. You have triggered on stream though? I have. Twice, I think. Twice I've gotten mad on stream. Like I said, I'm not tilt proof. Hello, YouTube people. Who both said okay. Brutal. This was completely different than most games shown by Cormac. Just a beautiful, simple opponent plays a weird line and gets an interesting endgame, then blunders a pawn and just a slow grind to the win in the endgame. Really some well played stuff. And like level 4. I don't think it's been 4 years. I think it's been like 2 or 3. 3 maybe. So yeah, I've triggered twice in like 3 years of streaming. Which, again, could be 0, but 2's not terrible. Like I said, I tend to do pretty well in that regard. Tenth grade, now I'm in third year of high school. So yeah, 3 years. That's math, right? Yeah, that's definitely the math. It's 3 years. I was right. Nice. Also, I should probably close the queue somewhat. So now we have some time. Homies, it is your turn. Am I playing your brother again, or what? What's the plan, Stan? Okay, I can do that. His name was the Egyptian Chess, the Chess Egyptian. I think it was the Egyptian Chess, but Egyptian was spelled slightly wrong. The Egyptian Chess Pro, that's what it was. Man, the past few weeks have been busy and stressful. It's good. Good things, but like, phew, a lot of them. It's holiday season, right? I'm really looking forward to having a break from uni. I really am. I'm really looking forward to it. Chips are spelled correctly? I think the I is supposed to go before the A. I'm fairly certain it's Egyptian. I'm fairly certain it's Egyptian with the I before the A. Ooh, the Dutch. No, it's not. Is it not? No, the I goes before the A. The I absolutely goes before the A. I'm right about this. I'm break from life right now. Good night, guys. Night, Ree. I'm in the same boat. But I got a few more weeks to hold out before I get my break. Got him? What do you mean, got him? Usually I think you play bishop e2. What do you mean, got him? You know, because it's I before E except after C, unless it's A is a neighbor in way. And that same general principle applies to IA. Your name says Norwegian and it's I before the A. What do you mean, got him? I'm so confused. Going to bed now as well. Gotta wake up in 8 hours. I'm just like training, so you know, good night. Good night, Norwegian. Appreciate you stopping by and gaslighting me. You know, just the typical base Norwegian fiddle boy experience. Sleep well. I know I was wrong, but you didn't. That's why I got. What do you mean? I knew you were wrong. I said it was wrong. The whole reason we started this is because I said it was wrong. The internet's a weird place, man. Well, you had to check? Of course I had to check. Because when someone tries to correct me on something or tells me I'm wrong about something, my first instinct isn't to dig my feet into the dirt. Because I try to be willing to learn. Ha! He's trying to actually learn and develop as a human being. Nerd. Got him. Like, come on. Hey, welcome, goat. I have compensation for the pawn, guys. Don't worry. Part of me wants to sack the knight, but I promise he takes the bishop, so I can't do that. It's a little annoying. This position, slightly stinky. Just a little bit. I am in great pain. We did it anyway. It's interesting. Part of me really wants to sack the bishop at this point. And just try to break free somehow, you know? Because I get 2-3 pawns for it, right? I'm going to do it because I think just playing bishop h3, then bishop takes h4, bishop takes h4, queen takes h4 looks terrible. So this is desperation, but, you know, something innovation. So we'll see, right? It's not the most obvious position. If I can get some pawns, if I can get these 2 pawns, for example, then okay, things get difficult. Which, evidently, I can get those 2 pawns. Like, obviously, I'm much worse here, but... But, like, okay. I've got 3 pawns for the piece. I've won way worse positions. I've lost way better positions. We play chess. We play chess. We'll see, right? It's fine. Not in love with my position. In fact, I quite dislike it, but... In fact, I quite dislike it. But okay. Again, I'm just making things difficult at this point. You make things difficult enough times in a row, eventually they become impossible, right? That's my philosophy. I've got some pressure. Not enough to meaningfully make a difference to the position, but... Again, it's not obvious. Check. Just poke and prod. Yeah, his knight doesn't really have anywhere to go, so... Making the knight move looks like a pretty good strat. If it goes here, then suddenly h4, h5 looks weird. So I don't think he'll play knight e4, which means he has to go like b3 or a4 or something. If he goes b3, I go queen c3. Again, I'm definitely significantly worse, but, you know, things happen. Just as hard. Just as hard. I love the idea of h5 here. And if like something like this, I trade queens and play rook takes d3. And again, I have a lot of pawns. Not enough, but a lot. I expect queen f5. There's other possible moves. Not that many, but there are others. Actually, are there any others? No, I think he has to play... yeah, queen f5. Makes the most sense. Now I expect him to take with rook, and then I play rook takes d3. That's an interesting move. Okay, let's start pushing the pawns. If we don't push the pawns, then we might as well not have them. Plus, this prevents the knight from jumping into really any important square. And after rook takes, I can play g4. And once again, I'm keeping all of his pieces at bay. The king can walk up, and I can start pushing. That's the only way I gain play in this position, is I take advantage of the fact that I have a lot of pawns. And now, rook h1 is difficult. It's not, again, I'm much worse. But it gets harder, you know? This check is not productive. This might be a dumb move, but I have to try something. Again, e5 was a very good move. Didn't expect it. Playing really well. F5? F5 was the move I'm playing. Tempo? Yeah, but he can take on G4, which is the problem. But I think I play it anyway. I'm really at a loss for good moves here. Oh, I missed E4. He doesn't have to take... I missed E4 completely. If not for E4, it would have been fine-ish, but... I completely missed that he didn't have to take on F4 first. And he had E4 afterwards. Because the knight guards everything. It's a strong knight, man. It's a very strong knight. Yuck. Yuck. Again, I'm going to keep playing. I don't believe in resigning. But man, if there were ever a position to resign, this is it, you know what I'm saying? So much garbage, man. Come on, take any 3. Then my king in. Yeah. Sheesh. What a horrible position. Just a terrible position. Well, that's a pretty checkmate. Yuck. I completely missed E5. I think before E5 I had something. It wasn't enough, but it was something. But F5 just blundered E5. Because I was thinking takes, rook takes, like king F4. And after king F4, your knight is forced to guard your rook, and so I could take on E7. Or D7, yeah. Because your knight was here guarding the rook and guarding the pawn. And so my point was after king F3, I'm attacking the rook, so you are no longer guarding D7. So you'd have to move the rook, and if you move the rook, then I get more open files. GG's. Knight D2 is terrible. I'm not actually sure how you should have done it. 98, 91. Yeah, I had to play 91 to... yeah, 91, that way I can play queen takes. I played 92, and it's very bad. Is that GG knows roller coaster chess? There's no roller coaster. Unless you're talking about those roller coasters where it just goes, you know, and just drops. I have something here though. It's not immediately obvious where your play is. E4 is so hard to play in this position, man. And then here, what I was expecting was like takes, rook takes G4, king F3. And then my point was you're not actually guarding this rook. So my intention was here I could be like, okay, herder pawns. But it's just not good. Because you walk my king to the back rank and then play knight g4. And it's very bad juju. Very, very bad juju. It's mate 18, mate 11. We lost a rook. Yeah, because I missed e4. I missed e4 at the end. I missed that you can take here first and then play e4. Right, which you have to go here, and then after rook c4, it's not the same. Because you can't actually take that. I mean, I guess you could do this. Knight e4 comes with check. King f3, knight g5. King e2. It's the same problem, you know? Then king d1. It's just, ugh. Ugh, ugh, ugh. Not good. Yeah. That's a pretty checkmate, though. All things considered. Well, you know, 21-43. That's not zero. You know what I mean? Let me do this. Okay, now I can see YouTube chat better. Sayaya. How do you pronounce your name, my good sir? I'm not too familiar with how to pronounce Georgian names. Sajaya? That doesn't sound right. I think is the J pronounced like a J? Saba. Oh. Well, that's way easier. I presume it's Saba, right? Sajaya? Gotcha. Okay, what was your chess.com name again? I mean, I guess I can find it by looking through my archive. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. I guess, but you never know, right? At least I never know. Okay, let's see. Let's see how you are with the white pieces. Ah, are we playing a Alapin again? Yep, we're playing an Alapin again. Okay, here we go. I learn. This is a 97 line. I learn. So now, let's figure out what we want to do. The Alapin is one of the weaker points in my Sicilian prep, if I'm being honest. If I'm being honest, the Alapin is one of my weak points. I think too much. I think I should stop thinking. Do I take here and then take the knight, or do I take the knight first? Is the pawn... I think the pawn being on c3 prevents the knight from developing, and so therefore benefits me. Right? Seems right. Then I go like here. Brother says goodnight. Well, night, brother of homies. Okay. Does my knight get trapped after f3? Hold on a second. Time out. My knight gets trapped after f3. Well, I'll be darned. It's insane. So I have to play something hideous like f6 or h6. Yuck. I'm going to go f6. That way if h4 I can take the pawn. That's disgusting. I completely missed that. Wow. So I guess you don't play knight e4. Knight e4 just looks so obvious. Yeah, I guess you go knight g4, right? And you just take the pawn. Doy. I just wanted the g4 square for my bishop in some lines. I got greedy. That's what I deserve. Right? 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 So now I've over-defended this, which is the nice part. So now I think I go here to both prevent the king from getting in and also get the pawn off the dark squares. Because remember, you want the pawns on the color, on the opposite color to your opponent's bishop in endgames with bishops. So I want pawns on light squares, he wants pawns on dark squares. Very important. Very important basic basic chess thing right there. I'll take, I don't think there's any problem with that. Then I'll play a6. Once again, pawns on light squares. That's what I want. Plus, if we get a passers, he gets this one, I get this one. I'd rather have the outside passer. So now I go king c6. Yep. And then bishop c5 if he lets me. But see, here's the thing. You would expect you want to play b4 because you're like, okay, prevent the bishop from getting to its ideal square on c5. But if you play b4, then suddenly you're putting more pawns on dark squares, which it might not be good. Which just might not be good. We'll see. You know what? You know what? You know what? I'm going to take, and I'm going to play rook e8. Because I don't want him getting to d7, and I want to get to e2. Now, he shouldn't let me get to e2. He really shouldn't. And again, I don't expect him to. But you want to always give your opponent a chance to blunder, you know what I mean? And I guess it's not a blunder if he lets me get to e2. It's not the end of the world, but it's preferable for the black pieces. If he does something like this, then I check and I trade rooks, and I play the bishop endgame because my king is far more advanced. Which is a nice advantage. It's not a winning advantage, but it's a nice one to have. And I play king d5, and then if he lets me, I play b5 to prevent c4. Because, again, I want to keep this pawn on a dark square. Little things, you know? Once again, another long, dry endgame from Mr. Sabaya. From Mr. Saba. Mr. Sajaya. I mean, that's the Alapin, right? If you're going to play the Alapin, you have to be ready for this stuff. That's why I don't like the Alapin, is because I want positions where I'm playing for a huge dynamic. And in these sorts of positions, I always feel like it's just very dry. Because it is very dry. Okay, in we come. I am not accepting a draw. There's plenty of chess to be played in this position. Yes, homies? I win 90% of my games here. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I can play b4, b5 now, and I prevent c4. And if c4, I get the outside passer. My brother been teaching me chess? Mm-hmm. That makes sense. In bishop endgames, quantity of passed pawns is not as important as quality. Now, that's one of the reasons I took with the c pawn earlier, is because I wanted this outside passed pawn for the endgame. So far, it's worked well. I play against bots. I find most of the best moves. No, yeah, having someone stronger than you coach you is very good. It's very beneficial. Outside passed pawn. This is a very big deal. I'm not going to say it's game winning because it isn't, but it's a big deal. It's the first step, right? Because now his king has to be further away from the action than mine does. I just need some practice. Right. This is going to be a challenge. So I don't push this pawn. It's doing a very good job right now. I need to get my king in. How do I get my king in? Looks right. I have to go 30 minutes, but I want to play, but I don't know if I can. Let's see. Well, let's find out, right? This game won't take 30 minutes. Neither one of us have that much time. Me or my opponent. Interesting. So if he goes here. Very interesting. I'm going to go here. Yeah. It's more than 10 minutes? Oh, yeah, that's true. But again, this shouldn't go for 30 minutes. We'll find out, but I don't think it should. Let's see what we can get. So this prevents bishop a5 to b4, just because if he does that, then I take the bishop and I push the pawn. And it's a little annoying. I'm a little not happy about getting the pawn on a dark square, because now his bishop can target it. And that's a little concerning, but we'll see. We'll see. He goes for it anyway. Ooh, I disagree with that. I'm going to go... Oh. I'm going to go here. Because if I go here, then check. Then here, then check. I'm forced back out again. Oh no, I can play this. Then takes, and he moves, pushes the pawn, I lose. So I can't do that. Here, check. Here, takes. And he has to take the pawn. I take this pawn, I win. So here, wait, here, check, here. Here. Yeah, that's not good. So I can't go forward yet, so I'm going to play g4 like my original plan was. Difficult game. Hmm. Well, now... He's going this way. Yeah, I can do this now. Now I can walk my king in. Because now there's no pawn defending this pawn. Okay, so now I go here. Again, the pressure is building. Ooh. Interesting. I think he's going to start running out of moves pretty soon. Pretty soon, I mean right now, I play bishop d6 and I think it's suk swung. Remember guys, pawns on the opposite color square, outside passed pawn, this is basic stuff. Now people don't study it, so they don't know it, so they lose. He's out of good moves. He's blocked in his own bishop. See what I mean? Look at this. Look at this stuff, man. He is out of good moves. Oh yeah, no, I'm winning. I'm absolutely winning. This is why I declined the draw. If bro doesn't know how to hold these positions, I'm not going to help him. I'm not going to accept a draw. It's same colored bishop. There's outplay potential. He's out of moves. It's suk swung. Every single move in the position he can make hurts him. And it's all because he didn't know where to put his pawns. This is why I took with the C pawn, guys. It was not an accident. I took with the C pawn very intentionally. Very intentionally. I will walk this way. I will take this pawn. You just see the 3M. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. It ain't good, man. Hello there, Noel. No? Is it? I almost read Noel, but that's, you know, because I'm based in Christmas build. It's not Noel, but it's no. Bethel Nava. Okay. Sure. Gift me the pawn. Welcome to my humble abode. Give me this. Gift me the game. This is why I decline draws. Okay, I'll queen that. Man, this guy's only 1800 because of his endgames. Goodness gracious. Only 1800 because of your endgames. That's the only reason. You fix your endgames, you'll get 2000 easy. Not going to play Alpin again? Hey, what'd you say? All you need is endgames. True. That sounds rude. Why? It's not rude. It's a compliment. It's you know, very easy diagnosis. Again, he's keeping up or playing better than I am throughout the middle game. And then I have to grind him forever in the end game. 5th most watched streamer? Aw, I appreciate that. Maybe d7. This was terrible. It's this, right? It's knight g4 and bishop b5. Bishop d7, bishop takes d7, king takes d7, then rook e1. She's crazy that you could just casually sack everything. Oh, absolutely you will. 100% true about endgame. Struggle with him over the board too. I can tell. Because, man, you're keeping up or you're playing better than me in the rest of the game. You just are. It's like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. But in this position, again, this is what I was happy with this. But in this position, again, I talked about this the entire time we were playing. Where my point was, my point was, you have to know your endgame principles. You just have to. So like king d2 was not a good move. You want to get your pawns off of the dark squares as fast as possible. F3 is by far the best move. F3 is by far the best move. Because you get this pawn off of a permanent target, and if I play rook e2, you just play rook d2. And it's fine. Right? And you play this endgame, which is completely draw. And you play a3, h3, and you play king d3, and you play c4 or something, and you go and you draw this. But playing king d2 is letting me go into this endgame, where now, I mean, I played this wrong even, but the problem is this pawn is forever on a dark square. Now, I could have played the king and pawn endgame, and that's probably what I should have done objectively. Bishop d6, and then bishop takes, king takes, because your king is just so far away. And I get the outside passer, right? That's the problem here. And if I get the outside passer, it's better. But what I did was I was just trying to say, okay, outside pass pawn, and you've still got you've still got your pawns on weird squares over here. Now, the mistake in this game, I think, was bishop a5. Maybe you can get away with bishop a5, maybe not, but I don't see a reason why you should get away with it. I just don't see a reason why you shouldn't do this. Because if I play f4, you play bishop e1, I'm never getting in. I can't get my king in because you cover the dark squares with your bishop. So that's fine, but by playing this and then going bishop d2, you let me in. You let me into the position. I can't win with only this pawn and this bishop. I need to get my king into the position as well. And so, kind of like the previous time, you have to know what I'm planning and then play around it. Because now, I walk in. Here, I was trying to calculate, and I wasn't sure, but I was pretty sure that I was winning. It would have been difficult, and it would have taken 3 million years, but I'm fairly certain that I win this. My plan was here, and then like h5, and then I play it like king e2, then like bishop c1. I have to play king d3, and I have to start calculating this position, right? So then a2, king takes, here, and my point is my king gets in better. Everyone hits plateaus, and it just means you aren't studying enough. King d3, and I think I win this. Yeah, I win if that, so let's play king b3 or something. Oh, big sneeze. Bishop e3, bishop f8, and then king e2. This was my plan. King c4. It's hard to win this. Because here's the problem. Here's the problem. This is a light square. And so if you manage to sack this bishop for this pawn and get your king in the corner, you draw. That's hard. That's hard for me to avoid. King d3, and that, because if you know you're shooting for that, I don't know how much you know about bishop endgames, but if you know that's what you're going for, I'm going to have a heck of a time preventing you. I play king g4. You can almost do it right now. I think you can do it right now. Yeah, you can do it right now, and this is a draw. Right? See, that's a draw, so I have to go like bishop b6 or something. Maybe I can keep you from getting in the corner? Yes, I can keep you... So it doesn't work quite yet. So you have to play king e2. Push the pawn. I take your bishop, draw. So you can't push the pawn yet. If I play something like this, king f1, and again, how do you keep me from sacking? And then I sack, and it's a draw. And you have to get to h1, and you have to sack the bishop with the pawn. So it's going to be very difficult. It's possible for me to win that, I think. But it's going to be very difficult. It's going to take a very long time. Yeah, because I can go bishop g3 here. And if I get the bishops off the board, then I draw. So I have to like rotate the bishop to this diagonal before I push the pawn. Like bishop c7, and then you go bishop h6. But if you go bishop h6, I get king g4. That's the problem. Okay, so it is winning. It is winning. I just have to be very intentional about the way I do things. Again, endgames, man, they're rough. But we didn't even get that because bishop c1, f4, and you locked your bishop in. So now it's even more fun for you. I mean, you don't. I'm closing the queue. It's official. I is tired. Anyone already in the queue still gets your game. Fear not. Yeah, you're at the end of the queue, homies. I don't think you'll be able to make it. So don't call me a Yankee. It's ridiculous. I ain't no Yankee. Why is review taking a billion years? Guys said the queue's closed. I said it and I meant it. Make like a train and choo-choo on that. Thank you, Saba. I appreciate it. Have a good night. This will be in the New York Times. I don't know. Same as in New York too. And then Levy will be jealous, and he'll apologize for checkmating me that one time. Knight c6, bishop e3, bishop f5. Knight c6, bishop e3, bishop f5, knight c3, e6, knight f3. Alapin. Alakine. Center stuff. Shaw's, you are like 5 minutes too late. Believe it or not. Queen b6. I mean, that doesn't work yet, but can't I, like, a5 and now I'm threatening this? Ooh, nasty. Queen b3 feels like it allows too much. Never mind. He didn't do it. Okay, now he did it. But now you get d5. Oh. And this is when the Alakine goes bad. You need to prevent white from getting that big center. Because once the big center is here, like this, look at this move. The knight's hanging if he takes. It's completely losing already. The Bortnik variation was very tricky, and I don't know. Queen b3 is my sort of a safe-ish move. That's fair. But d6 here, Cormac. Look at that. Ooh. That's pretty. And then you go knight b5, and you take on c7, and you win. I'm clapping very quietly. I don't know if my mic's picking it up. You just murder him. Just death. Immediate death. You basically go up a piece. The push to the center in the Alakine. But that's why the Alakine is good. If it were easy to figure out when to push in the center in the Alakine, then, like, it would be the worst opening in chess. But that the whole point is that it's very, very difficult. But the reason it's so good right now, for anyone who's not wondering, is because you can't take because the knight hangs. And the knight doesn't have anywhere to go. So, and then this knight's hanging as well. So you have to go knight c6. And then afterwards, I can go knight b5, and I'm threatening to take on c7. You still can't take because the knight is still hanging. The knight still doesn't have anywhere to go. And now you run into the problem of, if you play some rational-looking move like knight c8, I play knight takes c7. And this is the strongest piece on the board. a3, bishop takes c3, queen takes c3, e takes. And see, now the position is still very good, but it's not as good because the knight doesn't get all the way in. He traded the very bad bishop for this very good knight. Knight c8, knight d4. But even then, and even though white sacked a pawn, his position is still very good, just because he's completely locked down the center, locked all of black's pieces in a box, and suddenly the bishops are wonderfully strong. So the queen just needs to rotate somehow, and then you got big problems here as black. Big, big, big problems. Knight g6, bishop g5. What does bishop g5 do? Like, what if I play h3 or something dumb like that? Well, knight takes c5 is a threat. But how does bishop g5 prevent that? Oh. And it doesn't work here because queen takes e6. What? Wow. No way did you see this, Cormac. No way. Did you? No, I don't believe it. I refuse. In a blitz game, this was not intentional. This was not intentional in a blitz game. No shot. No way, no how. You saw this in a blitz game. No, I did not go over bishop f6 nonsense, as you'll see. Okay, that's much better. That's much better. Because look, bishop g5 is good because after knight takes e5, knight takes e6, queen takes e6, you have bishop f5 trapping the queen. And the bishops work together to trap the queen. And so if you play anything other than that, knight here doesn't work anymore because queen takes bishop f5, I have queen e8. And the queen's not trapped. How is the queen? I still don't understand it though. How is the queen trapped though? After queen e8, rook ae1, and your tempo sooner because the bishop's off the file, and also there's no queen d8. We go knight e7. And if I play f6, you just play queen h3 casually and murder him. What the? Bishop e6 check. And you take on f6. So bishop g5 is the best move because of these 10 move deep tactics that only work because bishop g5 does 5 different things at the same time, 3 moves deep. And no matter where you move the king, I play rook takes f6 next move, which guards the bishop and threatens this sort of stuff, and you get the bishop in, and also queen h6 happens. And also the knight's now undefended, and so you win material. Okay, we're going to pretend bishop g5 was a blunder. Okay, deal? It's easier to handle than this. Knight c7, queen e1. I like queen e1 before all of this. Like knight g6, now queen e1. The problem with queen e1 now is you've kind of committed a move or two, and so now I kind of want the rook to be on e1 to prevent any knight takes, because the queen will rotate a different way. I don't know. Queen e1 feels wrong now. It feels like the plan changed. This isn't that bad, sir. Kind of works. Queen h4 is a little bit suspicious, though, because you give him knight f5. And the problem with knight f5 is his queen enters the fray, right? Or no? Oh, the problem with knight f5. Wait, queen h4. I'm so confused. So he can't take because it's pinned, but he has knight f5, renewing the attack and blocking the pin. Hey, Denmark, welcome. And if you take with bishop, I take with bishop, and you take with this, I take on h4 now. So I stop the pin. So he has knight f5 blocking the pin. So queen g3 is better because of knight f5. But he still can't take because okay, queen d7, and because you get no, you don't even, no, you can't even do that. You get h4, h5. This isn't that bad, sir. I mean, queen h4, but this isn't that bad, sir. I mean, you play h5 and you force the knight out so you could checkmate him on h7 or g7 or whatever. How do you always get these positions, Korvac? What the heck is this? And then you just take h5, and it's losing because you get your piece back. For the oh yeah, it's an Office reference. That's disgusting. There are some worthwhile shenanigans. I can guarantee you the shenanigans are, but queen h4 is wrong because of knight f5. He did not play knight f5 though. So now you get rook ae1 and it's calling triple zeros because you don't have h4, h5 anymore, and that's the key idea. Oh. No, see, here's the problem. The problem is part of what makes this position so good is the fact that the knight's forced on g8. Because with the knight on g8, he can't play rook g8. And he can't take advantage of the open g-file or prevent any mates on g7 in the future. Right? So as soon as you play rook takes, you kind of give him more space to maneuver his pieces. Because if this, then suddenly you don't have an attack anymore. Stand up. Oh, okay, I'll stand up. It's out of date because I haven't changed my channel point redemptions in like a billion years, even though I should have for months. But I've been so busy. Okay, anyway. Okay, E8, Queen H5, Bishop G4. Ooh. And now you trapped your own queen. Oops. Rook E3. E4. And you just give him more material. He gives you a bishop for free. He just casually donates a bishop to your to the cause. I guess the problem is he has two. The problem is he's at 10 seconds. So even though you got a terrible position, he has no time to play anything. So now he's trying to play queen endgame with no time, and blundered and missed mate in 4. Gentleman and a scholar, ain't that the truth? That is terrifying. But you could just take queen g7, and there's nothing. He has to play. He has to keep it the same. He doesn't have time to do anything. This is psycho chess. I don't think Arav the Goat is still here. You're still here, homies? What a crazy game of chess. So Bishop G4 was actually a good move, but nobody knows why. It's a mystery. Yeah, sorry, Dane. It's already 11 p.m. and I've got one person left, so it's a wee bit late. Only the fish of stock knows why. Only the fish of stock. See what you got, homies. Or maybe Leela knows. Leela knows everything. She's very smart. Push him. Which one do I push? This one. You're always pushing one of them, but I never remember which one you're supposed to push. Push both. Genius. Absolutely revolutionary. You know how badly I want to play this? I'm doing it. It's my chess stream. I can do what I want, Mom. It's my chess stream and I'll do what I want to. Do what I want to. Do what I want to. Nom? This is a very nice looking position. I'll take this. You know, over defend the knight. The sudden resignations always have a certain comedy to me. Right, it's the psycho part of me coming out. I know time I gotta go. Yeah, that makes sense. Looks like I did everything right. No, 94 is best. I was still going to play this after 94, honestly. I didn't think it was good, but it looked interesting. It's too speculative, though. But sometimes you gotta risk it to get the biscuit, right? And there's some problems here. There's some slight positional problems for the white pieces. Check, king g7, bishop takes, king takes, and then queen d6, and that's just, ugh. Ugh, that's just all it is. It's ugh. And like 98. Just everything falls apart. Queen f6, and I just walk in casually and checkmate you. Disgusting. Just, I love it. I love how casual it is. See, that's what happens when you don't develop your pieces. Look, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces developed, and you've got 2 developed, right? Even though this was a mistake, it's difficult to prove it. And now you've undeveloped your bishop. So you effectively have 1 piece developed, and I have 4. And I'm like, okay, 1 is greater than 4. I think this works. Simple math. And so, again, now if we look at this position, the problem is I have everything developed. My rooks are ready, and these pieces are all sitting on the back rank sleeping. They're having a nap. Anyway, we're raiding somebody. GG's, homies. 1 is greater than 4? Simple math? Yeah, of course. Do you not understand this? You're clearly a little bit behind the times here, Dane. Do you want to say anything else to make yourself look like you don't know basic math? Or would you like to just, back off and realize that maybe you were wrong on the internet. Maybe, just maybe, you posted cringe. Any other questions? No? No other questions? It all makes perfect sense? Thanks for the stream. Thank you for stopping by. I'm sorry you didn't get a game tonight, but on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I'll be practicing Hand and Brain with my Hand and Brain partner for the upcoming Hand and Brain tournament. That's pretty exciting. Look forward to that one. Is 1 plus 1 3? No, 1 plus 1 equals 10. Have a good night.